Chapter 52:11. One inextinguishable golden wheel was already so difficult to deal with. Two inextinguishable golden wheels, for Jiang Qin, would undoubtedly increase the pressure. However, at this moment, he had no other choice. He could only fight with his back against the wall. He could not afford to lose. If he lost, then all his previous efforts would be for naught. Even the people of the Green Light clan would be implicated. Both inextinguishable golden wheels were actually obtained by this Shui Ganglai. This time, Ancestor Jiang Qin is in trouble. Ah, the heavens are in the cycle of reincarnation. Who would have thought that this Shui Ganglai would actually have such a method? This is really shocking. Even the inextinguishable golden wheel listens to him. Who on earth is this guy? Who says otherwise? But we are now fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Many people were lamenting. Although Jiang Qin was very strong, it was a pity that he had met Shui Ganglai, who was even stronger. Therefore, the battle between the two of them would be even more intense. Now, it seemed that with two inextinguishable golden wheels in hand, Jiang Qin was already at a disadvantage in terms of momentum. Although he had been incomparably brave just now, that was because Shui Ganglai only had one inextinguishable golden wheel. Now that he had two wheels in hand, things were definitely different. Jiang Qin was also extremely shocked. How did this guy get the inextinguishable golden wheel? Could it be that Shui Ganglai was related to the inextinguishable golden wheel? Jiang Qin did not know. In any case, he was currently facing a great enemy, and did not dare to be the slightest bit negligent. Divine Soldier Mantra, Inextinguishable Golden Wheel, you are. Qin Chi's expression changed. He could not believe it, but it was clear that his current shock was greater than anyone else's. More so, because of his understanding of the inextinguishable golden wheel, this Shui Ganglai seemed to be very closely related to that legendary person. Looks like you know who I am. Ha ha ha. Shui Ganglai looked at Qin Chi, his eyes narrowing. Qin Chi's body trembled, and he nodded heavily. Young Master Shui, please spare my life. I'm willing to be at your beck and call to help you find the legacy of the sages. Qin Chi's face was deathly pale as he knelt on the ground. He didn't dare to fight against Shui Ganglai, not only because Shui Ganglia's strength had completely surpassed his imagination, but also because the two wheels in his hands were the most terrifying treasures. The heavenly soldier mantra of the inextinguishable golden wheel could only be used by someone other than the Shui family. However, Shui Ganglai was so calm and unruffled, holding two inextinguishable golden wheels in his hands. It was enough to show how extraordinary his identity was. Even Kristen, who was standing off to the side, was stunned. He hadn't expected Qin Chi to submit to Shui Ganglai at a time like this. The Harpies were incredibly prideful. If it weren't for the fact that they were in a life-or-death situation, how could Qin Chi possibly be willing to serve Shui Ganglai like a slave? Jiang Qin's eyes were cold. It seemed like there were still a lot of things that he didn't know. This Qin Chi was indeed a smart man. He knew how to act according to the wind. Now that Shui Ganglai had the upper hand with two golden wheels of indestructible golden wheels, he immediately bowed to Shui Ganglai. Jiang Qin found it hard to believe that such a lackey was a half-step nebula expert. Judging from his attitude, he was ready to become Shui Ganglai's lackey. That's right. A wise man submits to circumstances. That's a good example. Don't be like this kind of person who overestimates himself and thinks he's infallible. This isn't a place where he should be, and now he actually wants to seize my treasure. What wishful thinking. Shui Ganglai said. Qin Chi's body shook and nodded. Jiang Qin, if you know what's good for you, hurry up and kneel before young Master Shui and beg for mercy. Otherwise, don't blame young Master Shui for being ruthless. If young Master Shui really wants your life, you won't be able to live past tonight. Don't make a mistake. Kneel now, and perhaps young Master Shui will leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, your corpse will be innocent and will turn to dust. By then, all the members of the Green Mang race will die because of you. Qin Chi arrogantly said. He had become Shui Gongchen's dog and was extremely pleased with himself. Because he had his own use for Shui Gongchen. Without him, it would be impossible for them to find the location of this secret. Even if Shui Gonglia's identity wasn't ordinary, he wouldn't be able to find it. You really are a qualified dog. However, it's not your turn to speak now. No matter who it is, I, Jiang Qin, will still beat him up today. If you want to die, then let's see who's the real deal. Jiang Qin was fearless. Whether it was Qin Chi or Shui Ganglai, he wasn't afraid of them. If they wanted to kill him, they had to show their true power. I gave you face, but you didn't want it. Young Master Shui doesn't need to care about anyone's face. You should just kill him. Qin Chi chattered incessantly. You seem very confident. How about you do it? Shui Ganglai frowned. This Qin Chi was really a chatterbox. At this time, it was clear that he wanted Shui Ganglai to treat him differently. This guy's attitude was indeed suitable to be a dog. However, Shui Ganglai really didn't like dogs that talked so much. Since you want to die, I will grant your wish. With the golden wool, even a cosmic cloud state might not be a match for me now. Jiang Chen, your death is coming. Ha ha ha. Holding the indestructible golden wool in his hand, Shui Ganglai took a step forward. 2 rays of golden light filled the sky, and the sky was filled with golden sunlight. 2 deafening cries of birds could be heard, like the cries of phoenixes and the roars of dragons. The 3-legged golden crow and the indestructible golden wool also began to play its role at this moment. Wherever the golden wheels passed, Shui Gongchen was unstoppable. Jiang Chen was forced to take a few steps back. The surrounding void started to crack and the stones beneath his feet started to crack. Shui Gongchen, who was holding 2 inextinguishable golden wheels, was completely different from before. Now, he was a fearless and peerless devil king. Jiang Chen's eyes lit up. Bang! 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 With Shui Gonglia's death charge, Jiang Chen's situation became more and more worrying. Star-plucking palm. Jiang Chen didn't want to be outdone. He roared, and the terrifying power of the stars gathered in his hand. With a palm strike, he forcefully blocked the terrifying power of the 2 indestructible golden wheels. The blazing golden wheels intertwined with Jiang Chen's star palm, erupting waves of terrifying golden halos. The blue star palm was more like a wall, blocking Shui Gonglia's progress. However, at this moment, both of them exerted their power to the extreme. The surrounding void kept collapsing, and the stones under their feet all began to crack and collapse. The magma also kept falling. The sky was falling, and the earth was sinking. It was like the end of the world. Everyone's face was filled with fear and incomparable horror. At this moment, both Jiang Chen and Shui Ganglai were more and more indignant. Neither of them took half a step back. The clash between the power of the stars and the source force was like the extinction of the stars. The light was dazzling and incomparable. Boom! Chapter 52:12. This place is about to collapse. What do we do? Everyone retreat from this place. It's too late. All the members of the Green On tribe had grim expressions and were filled with fear. In the face of death, all of them were no longer calm. If this went on, everyone would die. Once they fell into the sea of lava, they would be reduced to ashes. Jiang Chen knew that if he wasn't here, the members of the Green On tribe, as well as Chen Lu, would fall into despair. Their lives would be at stake. Jiang Chen didn't expect that the collision between the 2 of them would turn into a disaster. The sky was falling and the earth was sinking. The magma was boiling non-stop. At this time, Shui Ganglai, who was standing on his golden wool, did not look sideways. He swooped down and snatched Qin Chi and Kristen from Yi Luoti's hands. Yi Luoti was also helpless. He could not even protect himself. No one had expected that it would be like the end of the world. As long as they were trapped, they would die without a burial. 5 Elemental Trigram Fire Formation. Jiang Chen quickly made his move, retreating to advance. At this time, he and Shui Ganglai had already retreated. There was no way they could continue fighting. Jiang Chen was worried that the members of the Green On tribe would die. For Shui Ganglai, Qin Chi was his guiding light. Naturally, he could not allow him to be in danger. As the surrounding rocks continued to sink in the lava, a large piece of flint statue was revealed. When Jiang Chen and Qin Chi had first entered, they had seen half a statue. As the lava and the rocks continued to sink, it collapsed and became a lifelike statue of a human. After a long while, at this moment, the magma had completely retreated, and the boulders had all fallen down, filling up the empty space underground. The surrounding rocks had become very messy. However, at this moment, they were able to see 2 shockingly huge stone figures appearing in front of them. As the magma receded, the temperature continued to drop. Everyone finally heaved a sigh of relief. However, the stones on the ground were also unbearably hot, making them feel like they were sitting on pins and needles. Jiang Chen had once again used the 5 Elemental Trigram Fire Formation to save everyone. Their hearts were filled with emotion. At the critical moment, Jiang Chen had disregarded their former enmity. Such an action made them blush with shame. Before, they had wanted to punish Jiang Chen. But now, it seemed that they weren't worthy. Brother Jiang Chen, look. Chen Lu pointed at the 2 incomparably huge statues in front of them. Those 2 statues were like 2 gods, causing people to have the impulse to prostrate themselves in worship. Grandpa, Grandpa. I've finally found you, ha ha ha. Shui Gangyan said excitedly. At this moment, Shui Gangyan was extremely excited when he saw this towering figure. Grandpa. Jiang Chen was shocked. He was looking for his grandfather. Could it be that the inextinguishable golden wool was his grandfather's divine weapon? Jiang Chen was incomparably shocked and his face was full of surprise. If this was true, then it would explain why Shui Gangwo was able to snatch the inextinguishable golden wool from his hands so easily. Even if he tried his best, he still couldn't stop Shui Gangwo. The Divine Soldier mantra was a mantra used to control the inextinguishable golden wheel. And this Shui Gangyan was the descendant of the war god. No wonder Qin Chi was so shocked by Shui Gangyan's identity and was even willing to be his dog. So it turned out that he had taken a fancy to Shui Gangyan's identity. How many years has it been? I've been silently searching for you. Grandpa, I've finally found you. Today, nobody can stop me. He he he. Shui Gangyan's gaze was as sharp as a knife as he said in a deep voice. His eyes were filled with excitement. Young Master Shui, this time, you will definitely be able to see the bright moon after the clouds disperse. Don't worry, with me around, I will definitely make sure you don't go astray. As long as young Master Shui can save my life, it will be fine. Qin Chi said with a flattering expression. Don't worry, as long as you are obedient and work for me, I will not treat you unfairly. Shui Gangyan said coldly. Yes, young Master Shui. Qin Chi said in a low voice. This is the territory of my Shui family. If anyone wants to fight with me, then let's see how strong they are. In front of my family, nobody can shit on my head. Shui Gangyan's gaze was like an arrow as he pointed straight at Jiang Chen. In other words, he wanted to fight to the death with Jiang Chen. There is a cave down there not far away. There, young Master Shui. Qin Chi pointed ahead. There was a hidden cave under the two giant statues. Flames were still rising from the entrance of the cave. Fortunately, after the lava receded, as Stargrade experts, they were able to withstand the terrifying heat waves. Shui Ganglai took a closer look. Sure enough, between the two statues, between the legs, there was an extremely concealed cave. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't be able to see it. But this Qin Chi had actually seen it with a single glance. It was truly extraordinary. Shui Ganglai couldn't care less about Jiang Qin and the others. He went straight to the cave because he didn't want to waste any more time on useless people. With two indestructible golden wheels, Shui Ganglai wasn't afraid of anyone. As long as he found the remains of his grandfather, even a cosmic cloud state would have to make way for him. Shui Gangyan's rapid disappearance made the people of the green light race cautious. After a few life and death situations, they became hesitant. Everyone, those who are willing to follow ancestor Jiang Qin, step out. Those who don't can go back now. Yi Luodi stood next to Jiang Qin. Many people looked at each other and didn't know what to do. Chapter 52:13. The blazing flaming cave was under the ground, wrapped in magma. If it wasn't for the life and death battle between Jiang Qin and Shui Ganggao, which shook the heavens and cracked the earth, such a scene wouldn't have happened. Everything was the will of the heavens. Jiang Qin gazed at the blazing cavern. There might very well be something left by Senior Longfoot up ahead. He couldn't leave just like that. If it was for the safety of the Green-On race, perhaps Jiang Qin wouldn't have hesitated. But now, they wanted to get to the bottom of it and remove their curses. Hence, Jiang Qin couldn't chase them away. Although there were only 4-star level 9s left, if they gathered together, they would be a considerable force. Now, they had given up on life and death and were prepared to face death with equanimity. If he rejected these people outside the door, they would truly be heartbroken and in despair. Seeing so many of their comrades fall, one could imagine how they felt. For the continuation of their race, in order to become the great heroes of their generation, they had already given up on life and death. Jiang Qin walked at the front, and the brothers of the Green-On race followed closely behind. After entering the blazing cavern, even Jiang Qin didn't expect that it would suddenly cool down. The temperature dropped, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Wow! That's so cool. How comfortable. Yeah, I was almost roasted just now. Phew, this feels good. What is this place? Why is it so cool? Outside is the bottom of the magma. Although the magma has seeped into the ground and it's no longer that hot, isn't this place a little too cool? The inside and outside of this cavern are two completely different regions. Isn't this a little too different? Everyone couldn't help but look around. The environment here was indeed incomparably shocking. But to Jiang Qin, he felt a chill run down his spine. Although it was cool here, he kept feeling like there was an eye watching him. No, it was like there were 10,000 eyes watching him. It was the feeling of being spied on. The surroundings were indeed a little too cool. Jiang Qin was the first to see 9 bridges. What bridge is this? How could there be so many? And it seems like every bridge is different. Chen Lu counted them. There were a total of 9 bridges, and there seemed to be a beast head at the end of each bridge. However, she couldn't see anything special about these 9 bridges. Clan leader Yi, are there any clues about these 9 bridges? Jiang Qin also frowned as he looked at Yi Luodi. These 9 bridges weren't simple at all. They had 9 different colors, and although they looked a little gaudy, they were filled with mystery. He didn't know what to do. The 9 bridges and the 9 beast heads seemed to represent 9 people and 9 different meanings. It was unimaginable. Shui Ganglai, Qin Chi, and the others had also disappeared without a trace. Jiang Qin was deeply moved. Where did these 3 people go? Where would they go after the 9 bridges? This should be the legendary 9-bend solitary bridge. I've seen it in an ancient book. It's the history of the entire Kuwait Stars civilization. It said that this bridge is used to worship the supreme deities. The 9-bend solitary bridge symbolizes the 9 deities. On each bridge, there is a beast head that represents the respective symbol. It's very mysterious. Yi Luodi said in a deep voice. Legend has it that the 9-bend solitary bridge is very evil. If you take the wrong path, it's very likely that you'll fall into the cycle of reincarnation and never get out. The 9 bridges represent 9 cycles of reincarnation. Once you take the wrong path, the result may be unimaginable. However, this is just a legend. I can't verify it. It's only recorded in ancient books. I can't be sure where we should go. Yi Luodi looked at ancestor Jiang Chen helplessly. He didn't expect the legendary 9-bend solitary bridge to really appear. Moreover, he only knew a little about it. Where did these 9 bridges lead to and what they were like? No one dared to be sure. Jiang Chen looked around. These 9 bridges were very, very long. He couldn't see the end at a glance. Shui Ganglai and the others had probably already gotten on the bridge. Under the bridge, it was all dark and nothing could be seen. Jiang Chen held a luminous pearl in his hand and threw it under the bridge. The light of the luminous pearl disappeared instantly. No sound could be heard. They couldn't see anything under the bridge at all. However, Jiang Chen sensed that there seemed to be a heaven-devouring titanic beast under the bridge. The luminous pearl didn't seem to have sunk into the abyss, but had been swallowed by someone. Everyone was at a loss. Now that they were following Jiang Chen's lead, they definitely wouldn't be like before, disobeying the Celestial Empire. Jiang Chen pondered for a moment. Since he didn't know what the 9-bend solitary bridge was, he couldn't choose which was the real path. Only one of the 9 bridges leads to the other side. The other 8 bridges lead to the endless abyss and reincarnation. Yi Luodi placed all his hopes on Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen also knew that he had a long way to go. He was shouldering everyone's mission. Dragon's head, snake's head, horse's head, tiger's head, eagle's head, wolf's head, fish's head, leopard's head, cow's head. Jiang Chen murmured. These 9 beast heads didn't follow any pattern at all. He didn't know why they appeared on the 9-bend solitary bridge. He was a step too slow after all, allowing Qin Chi and the others to escape first. Qin Chi definitely knew where to go, but Jiang Chen didn't dare to act rashly. He wasn't fighting alone, and he wasn't risking his life alone. If he failed, he might fail on the verge of success and die without a burial place. That would mean hundreds of souls following him to death. He had to be careful. If the inextinguishable golden wheel is the symbol of the gods, then the 3-legged golden crow is a bird. I'll take this eagle head bridge. Jiang Chen stepped onto the eagle head bridge. He had no other choice. He had to fight with his back to the river, and this eagle head bridge was Jiang Chen's final choice. Are you afraid? Jiang Chen glanced at Chen Lu. Letting her roam the world with him was indeed a little unfair. Originally, she had accompanied him to search for his son. However, this trip to the Kuwait Star hadn't ended their crisis. They still had to go to the Qin clan's ancestral land. Chen Lu's future achievements were limitless, but at this time, she had followed Jiang Chen through life and death. She had completely disregarded life and death. She could have become stronger and calmer, and she could have gradually grown in the Qin clan's ancestral land. However, she had chosen a path of no return with Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen's heart was filled with courage. Chen Lu had never complained, nor was she afraid of death. Jiang Chen was her shield. She had always faced him with a smile and followed him closely. Don't be afraid. With Big Brother Jiangchen around, even if I die, it will be a worthy death. Chen Lu shrugged her shoulders. An incomparably determined expression appeared on her mischievous face. An unwavering expression appeared in her eyes. Let's go. Chapter 52:14. Everyone, be careful. Don't be a burden to Ancestor Jiangchen. Yi Rodi said in a low voice. Jiangchen had taken the lead, and did not let the Green On tribe scout ahead. This was enough to prove that Ancestor Jiangchen did not view them as cannon fodder, but sincerely wanted to help them resolve the nightmare of the curse. Jiangchen walked at the front. The eagle head bridge before him was undulating. The bridge was not wide, only 2 meters wide. However, it was extremely sturdy. There were guardrails on both sides, and the guardrails were like a series of feathers. The eagle head bridge with feathers was like an eagle about to take off at any time, spreading its wings and soaring. It was hazy ahead, and pitch black all around. The bridge was originally only a few meters away, but at this moment, Jiangchen could not see the other 2 bridges clearly. They were completely replaced by darkness. Ah, 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 oh, oh, oh. A series of hair-raising cries drifted over the stone bridge. Everyone around was cautious, looking at each other in dismay. They had no idea what was happening. Jiang Chen's face darkened. This sound was like an ancient call. He wanted to find the source of the sound, but he found that his real soul could not break through, nor could it spread out. Within a radius of 10 meters, besides the primal chaos ahead, there was only darkness. Jiang Chen walked forward slowly. Although there were no strange movements, he still felt a little uneasy in his heart. What's wrong, big brother Jiang Chen? Chen Lu could also see the doubt in Jiang Chen's eyes. I think we might have gone the wrong way. Jiang Chen shook his head. However, he did not dare to be sure. There was no turning back after a shot was fired. He could only move forward step by step. At this time, Jiang Chen saw an eagle flying over the bridge. The eagle's body was huge, and when it flapped its wings, its eyes were like torches. It was as though it could devour the heavens and earth, sending chills down one's spine. In an instant, the eagle arrived. Jiang Chen threw a punch towards the eagle. If he retreated, the Green On family would be the one who would be injured. Since he had already taken the lead, he would never back down from the responsibility of being the vanguard. Bang! 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 Punches after punches landed on the eagle's body. The eagle let out a piercing shriek and its eyes bulged out like thunder. It clawed at Jiang Chen with its claws. The situation was extremely dangerous. What a beast! 5 elemental finger. Jiang Chen struck out with his finger. Wind and thunder rumbled as he clashed with the eagle. Without any hesitation, he struck out with his finger and instantly pierced through the eagle's shadow, causing it to vanish into thin air. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Just now, when the eagle flapped its wings, it had brought them a tremendous amount of pressure. Jiang Chen's mind was as one. The eagle that suddenly appeared at this time seemed to be a trick of the 9-bend solitary Yin bridge. It was very likely that he was wrong to take the eagle head bridge. However, he had no way out now. He could only continue forward. This eagle made Jiang Chen very depressed, because just as he decided to continue forward, he saw another eagle swooping towards him again. After walking a few dozen steps, they met the second eagle. What's going on? Where did this eagle come from? Yeah, why do I feel that it's strange? The strength of this eagle is probably at the peak of the star class. That's right. Fortunately, Ancestor Jiang Chen was strong enough. Everyone was in disbelief. Jiang Chen did not show any weakness. He punched out a second time, incomparably ferocious. Bang! The eagle dissipated once again, disappearing into the dusky void. Jiang Chen frowned. These two eagles seemed to be the same, but they gave off a different feeling. Jiang Chen did not expect the second eagle to be so fearless. Where did this eagle come from? It was indeed a mystery. Continue forward, Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. With a wave of his hand, they once again walked a few dozen steps. This time, the third eagle appeared. Jiang Chen's face was incomparably gloomy. Why was this guy not done yet? The third punch was unleashed, and the eagle exploded once again. Jiang Chen didn't have a good feeling about this. If this continued, he would be spinning in circles. Although the bridge was straight and completely different, every time he threw out a punch, the eyes of each eagle would be different. How could he still be spinning in circles? Jiang Chen didn't know what was going on, but he didn't know what was going on. Jiang Chen did not believe it. But soon, the fourth eagle, the fifth eagle, the sixth eagle, when Jiang Chen killed the ninth male eagle, everyone's face was filled with anxiety. Although they didn't want to admit it, it was undeniable that they had been drawn into the maze and couldn't get out of it at all. This eagle was like a doorstep. They could not step over it no matter what. Could it be a formation? Jiang Chen pondered for a long time. He realized that he had searched the surrounding space but did not find any trace of a formation. This was definitely not a formation. But why did they fall into such a trap? Every time Jiang Chen saw the eagle, it was different. It proved that in his eyes, he was not enchanted at all. It was because the bridge was too long. This was also an explanation. But no matter what, he had fallen into an endless loop. Every few dozen steps, an eagle would appear and pounce on them. It would kill them again and again. It was the same for a long time. Big brother Jiang Chen, are we trapped in some kind of space? Chen Lu's pretty face was pale. She was also very worried. If the space they were in was infinite, it would be even more terrifying than a formation. Chapter 52:15. Yi Luodi and Chen Lu's words made everyone fall silent. However, they didn't want to cause trouble for Jiang Chen. Instead, they chose to wait in silence. They were willing to believe in Jiang Chen, as this was their only chance. They had no other choice but to place all their hopes on Jiang Chen. Only in this way would they be able to find a way out of this hopeless situation. Jiang Chen muttered to himself and looked afar. He didn't know if this place was really a world of its own, but he had fallen into an infinite loop. He had to find a way to break the formation. Although this wasn't a formation, they were still trapped in it. Even if they didn't die, they would still be trapped in it. What was the difference between them and being dead? He didn't know how Qin Qi and Shui Ganglai made it. Perhaps they chose the right path. This eagle head bridge had always troubled Jiang Chen. How would I know if I don't try? Jiang Chen smiled. No matter what, he would always be extremely calm. Even if the sky fell, what could he do? But now, Jiang Chen could only rely on himself. Black King, wake up! Jiang Chen yelled in his mind, waking up the Black King. At this moment, the Black King's power had reached the half-step cosmic cloud state. This surprised Jiang Chen. The Black King's cultivation in the Buddha prison palace was much better than before. Do you know about the 9-tune solitary Yin bridge? Or a realm that formed its own world? Jiang Chen asked. 9-tune solitary Yin bridge. Master, how did you get here? The Black King was stunned. He couldn't believe it. You really know? Jiang Chen rejoiced. He didn't expect the Black King to really know about the 9-tune solitary Yin bridge. It seemed he found the right person. When he followed Long Futu, the Black King was very powerful and knowledgeable. There were many things that Jiang Chen needed to ask the Black King. Jiang Chen was a little annoyed. Perhaps he should have woken up the sleeping Black King from the start. That way, he would have been able to avoid some detours. The 9-bend solitary bridge is the hell realm of the Yama kings of the 10 halls. Back when we were on the Heaven Awakened planet, we encountered one of the Yama kings of hell, King Taishan. Master was almost devoured by King Taishan. Luckily, he managed to turn the tide at the last moment. The 9-tune solitary bridge is 9 completely different bridges. It's also the realm of each Yama king. It's very dangerous. It's divided into dragon, snake, horse, tiger, eagle, wolf, fish, leopard, and cow. Each of them represents a Yama emperor. The Black King enunciated each word clearly. Why are there only 9 bridges among the 10 Yama kings? Jiang Chen frowned and asked in confusion. Among the 10 Yama kings, the strongest is King Qingguang. He guards the gate of hell in the eternal world. 9 is supreme, so King Qingguang's realm is not among them. However, the 9-tune solitary bridge is a bridge formed by the fusion of 9 Yama kings. The 9 bridges lead to their respective realms. It can also be said to be the key to the gate of hell. The 9-tune solitary bridge has the blessing of 9 Yama kings. It's very terrifying and only Emperor realm experts can take it. The Black King said solemnly. Master, if I'm not wrong, you must have mistakenly entered the 9-tune solitary bridge, right? You're right. I did enter the 9-tune solitary bridge. Now, I've found that I've fallen into an infinite loop and can't find the way out. That's why I'm asking you if you know anything about the 9-tune solitary bridge. Do you know how to get out? Jiang Chen had a bitter look on his face. The 9-bend solitary bridge is a single space, but it is also 9 spatial boundaries. Every Yama emperor has a 9-bend solitary bridge, but only the bridge they control is connected to the rest of the 9-bend solitary bridge. The rest of the bridges are all dead. Once you enter, you will be plunged into the dangers of the eternal domain. 9 out of 10 will die. The Black King said in a low voice. Back then, Senior Longfooter should have come to the Kuei Wood Star. It's because there are traces of him on the Kuei Wood Star that I want to find his traces. There may be a star core here. Jiang Chen said. Kuei Wood Star. You're in the conferred Godland. The Black King's voice became even more solemn. The conferred Godland. Why do you say that? Jiang Chen was puzzled. Back then, the old master had experienced 2 great battles here. The battle between the 3 top experts shook the entire planet. That's why this place is called the Conferred Godland, because it used to be the ancient place where the Conferred God battle took place. The Black King's words matched with the historical books that Yi Rodi knew. It seemed that all of this seemed to be traceable. Back then, Xueli, the Chakravarti king of the 10 Yama kings, and one of the 9 great supremes joined forces to fight against the master. The conferred god battle began, and in the end, the sky collapsed and the earth collapsed, almost causing the entire Kuei Wood Star to explode. However, I don't know much about this period of history, but there should be extraordinary treasures here. Otherwise, how could the 3 Emperor realm experts fight to the death? The Black King's voice was solemn. Jiang Chen nodded silently. Chakravarti King Xueli. Could the inextinguishable golden will be Xueli's treasure? And Shui Ganglai was Xueli's descendant? In this way, it seemed to make sense that he could chant an incantation to control the inextinguishable golden wheel. Jiang Chen suddenly realized that Qin Chi's fear of Xueli must have originated from this. Indeed, even he had to avoid Xueli, who controlled the inextinguishable golden wheel. After all, it was a peerless emperor weapon. Chapter 52:16. The 9 realms merged into one, but each ruled independently. The solitary 9-bends bridge was indeed terrifying. What was truly terrifying were the 9 emperor realm experts. No, it should be 10, the Yama kings of the 10 courts. However, Jiang Qin knew that King Taishan was already dead. His soul had been obliterated and completely devoured by Jiang Qin. The Chakravarti king Xueli should be dead as well. Otherwise, how could his grandson obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel? Moreover, this land of beacon smoke should be the conferred god battlefield mentioned by the Black King. No one knew whether they were dead or alive in the battle of life and death. However, it was said that they were all dead, leaving behind a mysterious place like the ancient land of beacon smoke. After so many years, it was finally discovered. Back then, Senior Longfutu was able to escape the Kuei Wood Star alone. It seemed that it was very difficult for him to escape with the Supreme War God and the Yama Emperor of the 10 Yama Palaces. It could be said that he was very fortunate to not die here together with the Supreme War God and the Yama Emperor of the 10 Yama Palaces. That incomparably huge stone statue from before was probably the Chakravarti King Xueli's appearance. At this moment, Shui Ganglai was obviously here with the intention of searching for treasures. He claimed that he was looking for his ancestor, but his eyes were only fixated on the treasures. Although the Chakravarti King Xueli was no longer in this world, the solitary 9 benzene bridge was not something that he could easily break. The 9 different realms were linked together to form a maze. This situation was not something that anyone could control. Jiang Qin now carried everyone's hopes and could lose his life here at any time. Although he knew how to deal with the 9 realms and the mysteriousness of the solitary 9 benzene bridge, to cross it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The Black King was also very clear that the Emperor realm experts had formed their own realms. They had no way out. "Master, are you confident?" the Black King asked. "I'm a chicken feather confident." Jiang Qin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, at this time, he could only take one step at a time. The Emperor realm experts have formed their own realms. They probably haven't reached the realm of the Eternal Lord, but it's still quite terrifying. At least, I don't have the ability to open a new world. Jiang Qin muttered to himself. "Master, I heard the old master say before that if you want to open up your own world, your cultivation base must first reach the immortal Emperor realm. Secondly, your mental energy must be strong enough. Only then would you be able to use your own strength and methods to open up a new world. Hence, you can try using your mental energy. Your innate astral soul might be able to discover some clues." The Black King felt helpless. He had no way of helping his master. That was all he knew. "Let me try." Jiang Qin nodded his head. At this moment, he could only place his hopes on his innate astral soul. Jiang Qin's destiny astral soul had already reached a bottleneck. He truly didn't know what he should do. With his destiny astral soul, wanting to break open the domain gate and tear open a path of survival was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, with so many people silently waiting for him, he had no choice but to give it his all. "Ancestor Jiang Qin, what should we do?" Yi Luodi was extremely anxious, but he knew that it was useless to be anxious. He still had to see what Ancestor Jiang Qin would do. The conversation between Jiang Qin and the Black King was communicated through their divine sense. Hence, no one else knew about it. "You guys help me block the incoming winged eagles. I'll try and see if I can open this so-called domain gate." Jiang Qin solemnly spoke. "Domain gate?" Chen Lu stared at Jiang Qin in astonishment. Just when she was about to ask, Jiang Qin had already entered a meditative state. Although Jiang Qin's destiny astral soul was powerful, it paled in comparison to the domain gate of an immortal emperor. Jiang Qin was very clear of his own strength. Although he felt like a duck being forced onto a perch, he had no other choice now. With a thought, he had already entered a meditative state. Jiang Qin's destiny astral soul constantly tried to expand, constantly sensing the surrounding realm. Time slowly passed. At this moment, the winged eagle that had been in the cycle of reincarnation once again appeared before everyone. Although Jiang Qin could kill it with a single punch, it didn't mean that they could do the same. The strength of this winged eagle was at the peak of the star state. It was even faintly comparable to a half-step nebula state. Such pressure was suffocating. Prepare for battle. Yi Luodi frowned coldly. He no longer had any choice. He could only fight with his back to the river and win more time for ancestor Jiang Qin. Yi Luodi led the green light race and rapidly entered an intense battle. They fought for a long time, but they weren't able to defeat the winged eagle completely. However, they were also panting from exhaustion. To Jiang Qin, this wasn't much. However, they had exhausted a lot of energy. Chen Lu was panting heavily. She didn't know how much longer they could resist. It wouldn't be long before they would still win against those unceasing flying eagles. It was as if they had been drawn into an infinite loop of a domain. There were endless dangers, but their strength was limited. Jiang Qin didn't have any distractions. He attacked again and again, releasing his destiny astral soul. Countless times, it was as though he had kicked an iron plate. There was no response at all. Jiang Qin felt as though they were trapped in a cage. There was no way for them to escape. Bang! 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 Attack after attack, collision after collision, there was no response at all. Damn it, I don't believe it. Jiang Qin frantically attacked the barrier. His soul couldn't extend at all. If this continued, they would be trapped to death here. Although he could still persist, Yi Luodi and the others were clearly struggling. Jiang Qin had to think of a solution as soon as possible. If he died here, it would be too unjust. I wonder how much longer I can endure. Yi Luodi wiped the blood from the corner of his lips. The tribesmen around him were all heavily injured. The situation was extremely chaotic. On the solitary Yin Bridge, more and more people were already unable to endure. They were panting heavily, as though they were holding on to their last breaths. Chen Lu's countenance was also deathly pale. Her situation wasn't any better. All their hopes were on Qin Wendian. Time waits for no man. They didn't have many chances left. Tribe leader, will ancestor Jiang Qin wake up? Do we still have hope? Yeah, tribe leader. Will ancestor Jiang Qin really be able to save us? Tribe leader, I'm not afraid of death. If he can remove the curse of our Azure Radiance tribe, I would already be satisfied. For the sake of our tribesmen, I will die a worthy death. Yeah, tribe leader. We, the Azure Monkeys, have no cowards. Everyone stared at Yi Luodi with deep emotions in their eyes. He will definitely not disappoint you guys. Chapter 52:17. Howl. Screech. Ear-piercing screeches echoed in everyone's ears. The eagles flapped their wings once more. The seventh peak star rank eagle had plunged the entire Green Dawn tribe into despair. They had been waiting and anticipating, but the result had been unbelievable. They had been using their lives as the price to search for that last chance of survival. Only by lifting the curse would their descendants be able to live a better life. For millions of years, they had never let go of such an opportunity. They had never slacked off, but they were always disappointed. Now, someone was leading them into the ancient beacon smoke land alone, seeking that last sliver of peace. Even if they had to give it their all, they would not retreat. This was not only for themselves, but also for their descendants. Bang! 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 One by one, the Azure Monkeys fell, only to be replaced by another. At that moment, there was only one belief in everyone's heart. Their injuries were getting worse and worse. They had already defeated 7 eagles, and the cycle was still going on. They had been trapped here all this time, and they had never had a chance to get out. Chen Lu was also with the Green Dawn tribe. She fought with all her might and did not retreat. She believed that big brother Jiang Qin would not disappoint her. They gave it their all, falling again and again. They would never admit defeat, but there were just too many of them. These eagles were all peak star ranks. They might have been able to handle 1, 2, or 3, but they had already exhausted most of their strength. In the end, Jiang Qin was still sitting cross-legged, motionless. Patriarch, can you think of something? If this goes on, we will all be wiped out. That's right. If we were to be trapped here and die, it would be too sullen. Even if we were to die on the battlefield, we would be willing to do so. But in this dangerous situation, our deaths would have no value at all. I don't know how much longer we can hold on. Some people's faces were filled with despair, and some people's hearts were heavy. If they died honorably, they wouldn't have any complaints. But to die trapped in this desolate place where no one lived, they couldn't die in peace. Yi Rodi was persevering. As long as there was a trace of hope, he wouldn't give up. He watched as the people around him fell one by one. They were all his people, his people. Blood was thicker than water. No one could understand his sorrow. At this time, his only hope was ancestor Jiang Qin. However, he still sat there without moving, which made everyone impatient. But everyone knew that in this situation, they had no other choice but to leave their hope to the heavens. Chen Lu stared at Jiang Qin. Hope continued to shrink in everyone's hearts, to the point where it was unreachable. Jiang Qin wasn't a god, and it was impossible for him to be all-knowing and omnipotent. Chen Lu's eyes were filled with adoration. Perhaps this was the greatest regret of her life. However, if she could share life and death with big bro Jiang Qin, that would be a form of consolation. Countless times, Chen Lu had thought about the ending between her and big bro Jiang Qin. Perhaps it would be beautiful, or perhaps it would be regretful. But she had never expected that the end of her life would come so quickly. Whether or not they could live on would depend on their own fate. It's here again. As for the eighth eagle, the cycle repeated itself over and over again. The eyes of the people of the green light race had already turned hazy, and were filled with despair. Their tribesmen were already on their last breaths. The scene was extremely tragic as they wailed in anguish. At this moment, after countless attempts, Jiang Qin was still unable to charge out of the world. He knew that he couldn't use brute force to charge out. He could only choose to take a roundabout route. Cinnamomum Kasha, I can only depend on you now. Jiang Qin murmured. Right now, all his hopes were placed on Cinnamomum Kasha. As for how strong the astral souls of Cinnamomum Kasha were, Jiang Qin didn't dare to make any wild guesses. However, he knew that Cinnamomum Kasha definitely had a life of its own. Being able to obtain Cinnamomum Kasha was also a great stroke of good fortune for him. Jiang Qin's hand silently touched Cinnamomum Kasha, feeling the majestic, shocking, calm, and auspicious aura within Cinnamomum Kasha. Such a feeling caused Jiang Qin to feel incomparably relaxed. In an instant, Jiang Qin's heart was filled with tranquility. It was as though he was isolated from the rest of the world, wandering amidst the sea of stars. His soul became incomparably clear. Natural, calm, without any desires or demands. Jiang Qin had never imagined that his soul would experience such a great improvement at this moment. It wasn't clear whether it was a sublimation or a sublimation. His heart was filled with countless worries, but at this moment, it was as though his soul had left his body, becoming one with nature. Jiang Qin had never done such a thing before because he had always been on the road. But at this moment, he chose to stop and use his heart to listen to Cinnamomum Kasha. This was something he had no choice but to do. He could only place all his hopes on it. What an ethereal feeling. Jiang Qin's heart and mind were one. It was as though he could see through the entire world. Nothing could hide from his eyes. However, Jiang Chen knew that this wasn't what he saw, but what Cinnamomum Kasha sensed. Relax your heart, empty your soul, feel nature, become one with nature. Jiang Chen continuously breathed, constantly relaxing the stubbornness in his heart. He was no longer stubborn about life and death, no longer stubborn about the past and future. The feeling that Cinnamomum Kasha gave him was incomparably strong. Jiang Chen felt that his soul had become clear and transparent, as though it had reached a sublimation that he had never experienced before. Cinnamomum Kasha, can I leave this place? The 9-bend solitary Yin bridge is a world of its own. Can I change this place? Jiang Chen used his heart and soul to merge with Cinnamomum Kasha. Can I? Jiang Chen's heart skipped a beat. His eyes were burning with passion. He could feel Cinnamomum Kasha's response. Cinnamomum Kasha cleansed his soul over and over again, merging with it perfectly. Although it wasn't perfect, it gave him a deeper understanding of his soul. Man and soul were just a drop in the ocean of stars. They both had substance, but the soul could travel through all things and change the form of things. Hence, the soul was higher than the body. However, the soul and the body couldn't be separated. Only when the two merged would it be the true spirit of all things. The intercourse between Jiang Chen and Cinnamomum Kasha was unprecedented. Jiang Chen saw the 9-bend solitary Yin bridge. It was as though it was 9 independent spaces. It was so clear that he could touch it. In the world of Cinnamomum Kasha, there was nothing that couldn't be done. Chapter 52:18. Jiang Chen's heart was completely focused. He could see everything around him. The 9-bend solitary Yin bridge seemed to be right in front of him, but this was not what he could see. Instead, he was borrowing the power of Cinnamomum Kasha's soul. That was how Jiang Chen could see everything. His soul traversed through the boundaries. Everything around him was incomparably calm. It was as if he had fused with heaven and earth, becoming one with all things. No one knew what the changes in heaven and earth were, but Jiang Chen could see everything through Cinnamomum Kasha's soul. The 9 realms becoming one was originally impossible, but the Yama kings of the 10 courts had done it. Moreover, they had connected all the roads leading to the 9-bend solitary Yin bridge. Only one was the true way out, so he had to traverse the boundaries and bring everyone away from this Eagle Head Bridge. Reaching the Wolf Head Bridge was the bridge of helplessness controlled by the Chakravarti king. Everything depends on you, Cinnamomum Kasha. Thank you. Jiang Chen gently stroked Cinnamomum Kasha, his face solemn. After so many twists and turns, he had used countless methods, but they had all failed. He could only rely on Cinnamomum Kasha to traverse. Cinnamomum Kasha kept vibrating, responding to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen was overjoyed and nodded repeatedly. Let's begin. It was as if Jiang Chen had opened the heavenly eye. When he opened his eyes and stood up, he saw a different scene. Chief, I can't hold on any longer. If you can make it out alive, tell Ban Nia that I've liked her for a long time. Chief, please take care of my children. I beg you. Chief, are we really going to die? Yi Rodi's face was extremely ferocious. Faced with the repeated questions of his tribesmen, he had mixed feelings. How could he not want to leave this damned place? But who would have thought that they would be trapped here until they died? It would be hard for them to do anything, and they would die in vain. Right now, the Green On race only had 60 or so people left. There were a few more who fell into pools of blood, unable to hold on any longer. Ancestor Jiang Chen had already become their only hope. After such a long time, Ancestor Jiang Chen still hadn't appeared, which meant that he was powerless to do anything. Chen Lu smiled bitterly. The cycle of life and death was destined. She wished that she could help her father grow old and take care of him in his old age. She hoped that her death would not make them so sad. Big brother Jiang Chen, I like you. For life and for life, you will never change. Life and death will never stop the cycle of reincarnation. As for me, I will never perish. Chen Lu murmured. She knew that her life had finally come to an end. The experts of the Green On tribe would most likely all perish here. If even Big Brother Jiang Qin was unable to change all of this, then that would be the saddest. They could only silently wait for death. Seeing his clansmen fall one by one, Yi Rodi couldn't bear to watch anymore. However, this might be their final outcome. No one could change anything. They could only be killed by the unceasing cycle of the eagles. But no one regretted it. Their choice had already been decided long ago. For the sake of blood, I swear to never return. Yi Rodi snarled. There's no need to fight anymore. I'm back. Jiang Chen's voice was deep and solemn. Watching the azure monkeys fall one by one, he didn't feel good in his heart. Each one of them was struggling at death's door. Their strength had been squeezed to the limit. If it weren't for them, perhaps he wouldn't have been able to fuse with Cinnamomum Cassia so easily. Big Brother Jiang Qin. Chen Lu was pleasantly surprised. She thought that she would never see him again. She thought that she was destined to die here. The sight of Jiang Qin before them made everyone excited. They could finally be freed from their predicament. Ancestor Jiang Qin, does that mean we don't have to die? Ancestor Jiang Qin is finally back. The excitement in Yi Rodi's heart was overflowing. Not only his clansmen, but he himself was also eagerly looking forward to Jiang Qin leading them out of this place. That eagle is coming again. Someone exclaimed. At this time, Jiang Qin took a step forward and punched heavily. It swept across and directly forced the eagle to retreat, smashing it into pieces and turning it into a pile of meat paste. Jiang Chen's strength had completely recovered to its peak. The power of that punch swept across and blocked it. Everyone saw the sacred light of hope appear in front of them. I'm sorry, I came back late. Jiang Chen sighed. But at this time, no one blamed him. What Jiang Chen carried was completely unimaginable to them. Follow me. Jiang Chen looked at Yi Rodi. Everyone was ready for battle. Ancestor Jiang Chen, just say it. We won't even frown if we have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames. Yi Rodi patted his chest and said. Come, jump in here and follow me. We'll cross the boundary. Jiang Chen pulled Chen Lu and Yi Rodi's hands. Everyone, hold hands and feel the transcendence of your souls that I bring. Follow my heart and cross the boundary together. When Jiang Chen finished speaking, the people of the Green On clan all held hands and followed Jiang Chen. They walked forward and crossed the railings. The originally pitch-black abyss seemed to be walking on flat ground at this time. Not long after, Jiang Chen crossed the Eagle Head Bridge and came to the Wolf Head Bridge. At this time, everyone opened their eyes and were dumbfounded. It seemed that they were still on the bridge. What's going on? Why are we still in the same place? Someone was puzzled. It's not the same. This is the Wolf Head Bridge. Look at the carvings on the railings. They are all wolf heads. Chen Lu said in a low voice. Everyone looked at the carvings on the railings and came to a sudden realization. At this time, they realized that they had really passed through this boundary. That means that we're saved. Ha 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 ha. Someone cheered. At this time, they saw the huge figure of a sky wolf pouncing towards them. Everyone was shocked as though they were facing a great enemy. Jiang Chen's eyes narrowed. Everyone instinctively retreated. That sky wolf instantly flew towards Jiang Chen. But what was unbelievable was that it was just a shadow. There was no danger at all. There was no pressure at all. This is fake. Chen Lu was shocked. That's right. It should be just a shadow projected by another boundary. It's not the real sky wolf. We can continue forward now. Jiang Qin heaved a sigh of relief. He was extremely excited and grateful to Cinnamomum Kasha. If not for Cinnamomum Kasha, he did not dare to imagine that they would be completely trapped in this place. In the end, they would become corpses and be buried here. Now, they finally saw the light and saw hope. Let's go. Chapter 52:19. We're finally out. Jiang Qin heaved a sigh of relief. Even he thought that he was dead for sure. However, he did not expect that Cinnamomum Kasha would play such a crucial role at the most crucial moment. Cinnamomum Kasha was the treasure of the great emperor. One could only imagine how terrifying it was. Jiang Chen was able to obtain Cinnamomum Kasha through sheer luck. Looking at the exhausted faces of the Green On tribe members, Jiang Chen sighed silently. However, he could only rejoice that they were still alive. No one knew that after experiencing despair time and time again, the azure monkeys were already prepared to welcome death. In the end, they were almost trapped to death. Now that they had escaped from death, they finally made it out despite the many bumps in the road. To them, the solitary Nine Bends Bridge was a nightmare. Compared to dying on the battlefield, it was more suffocating. Time and time again, they were trapped within. That was an unimaginable torment. Ancestor Jiang Qin, you are truly a god. Yeah, we thought that we would never be able to make it out again. Phew. Someone heaved a sigh of relief and kowtowed to Ancestor Jiang Qin. Without Ancestor Jiang Qin, we would have really died here. Ancestor Jiang Qin, please accept our kowtow. With Ancestor Jiang Qin around, we have nothing to fear. As long as you are here, we will definitely be able to make it out alive and break the curse of the Green On tribe. Towards Jiang Qin, they had unconditional trust. Moreover, they were clear that as long as Jiang Qin was here, they would definitely not be in danger. Chen Lu was also full of admiration for Jiang Qin. Now that they were reunited, the love she felt for him was even deeper. I'll make a move first. Since I'm already here, I can only continue on. Life and death are decreed by fate. Wealth and honor are determined by the heavens. I will never abandon everyone. Jiang Qin nodded. Chen Lu, you take good care of them. Patriarch Yi, and you, now that everyone is seriously injured, it's better for you to be careful. If you continue to follow me, you will gain very little, so you stay for the time being and rest in place. I'll walk the rest of the way by myself. Jiang Qin said solemnly. Yi Rodi pondered for a moment. He wanted to refuse, but he was very clear that if he followed Jiang Chen's ancestor, then they would definitely become a burden. Even he could not help Jiang Qin. It would only make his hands and feet tied, and it was likely that there would be large-scale casualties. Logically or emotionally, it was impossible for Yi Rodi to continue following Ancestor Jiang Qin. If that was the case, then he would be too insensible. Sometimes, one had to choose to retreat from the situation. If they could help Ancestor Jiang Qin, perhaps they would rather die than retreat. But now, they had no other choice. Ancestor Jiang Qin, we will wait here for your triumphant return. That's right. Ancestor Jiang Qin, if you don't return, we won't leave. Yes. We swear to protect Ancestor Jiang Qin with our lives. The people of the Green On clan were full of passion, advancing and retreating together with Jiang Qin. At this time, even someone with a heart of stone could not help but feel moved. Although the Green On clan was previously dissatisfied with him, that was all because of that bastard Qin Chi's provocation. The people of the Green On clan were rather simple. They had only been sowed discord, and so many of their brothers had died. They knew better than anyone who was truly looking out for them, and who was truly worthy of their trust. Thank you, everyone. I will definitely return and lift the curse for you all. Jiang Qin smiled, full of confidence. Ancestor Jiangqin, we await your triumphant return. Yi Rodi nodded firmly, unwavering. Chen Lu was also unruffled. Although she was worried about Jiang Chen's safety, even the people of the Green On clan had chosen to retreat for the sake of Jiang Chen's safety. How could she still be a burden to Jiang Chen? Therefore, the more she thought about it, the greater the gap between her and Jiang Chen. After leaving Kuei Wood Star, she had to hurry to the Qin clan's ancestral land and increase her strength as quickly as possible. She did not want to be a burden to Big Brother Jiang Chen at a critical moment. She wanted to fight alongside Big Brother Jiang Chen. However, at this moment, the worry in Chen Lu's heart was overflowing. You must take care. Chen Lu clutched Jiang Chen's hand tightly, lowered her head, and bit her lip. Don't worry, I will. I will accompany you to the Qin clan's ancestral land. Jiang Chen's eyes were soft and filled with relief. He knew that this was what Chen Lu was worried about. Thank you, Big Brother Jiang Chen. I will always be by your side. Chen Lu turned her head, tears welling up in her eyes. She hated herself for being so weak that she could not help Big Brother Jiang Chen. If she could become Big Brother Jiang Chen's right-hand man, she would not have to stay here and wait silently. That kind of anxiety made each day feel like a year. But as long as Big Brother Jiang Chen did not return, she would not leave this place even half a step. Jiang Chen gazed at Chen Lu and shook his head. This trip was a matter of life and death. He did not know how strong Shui Ganglai was. Moreover, he was in a very passive position. Shui Ganglai and Qin Chi had teamed up and knew this place like the back of their hands. He could only feel the stones to cross the river. It was too difficult. Jiang Chen turned around and left the solitary Yin bridge without hesitation. After passing through a misty area, Jiang Chen saw a precipitous cliff. On the cliff, there were chains of chains. Below the chains was a magma purgatory. At this moment, Jiang Chen saw countless shadows and corpses in the magma. They seemed to be struggling. Ear-piercing roars and cries of despair seemed to resound from the depths of the purgatory, reverberating in his heart. This place is very strange. One careless step on this iron chain bridge and you will fall into the purgatory. Seems like it's not going to be easy to cross. Jiang Chen murmured. Although there were iron chains in this place, this inferno hell was much more difficult than the Nine-Bend Solitary Yin Bridge. The Nine-Bend Solitary Yin Bridge was a spatial zone of its own, but this place was a real inferno hell. The waves of magma felt like it was roasting one's soul. This made Jiang Chen hesitate. This should be the inferno hell controlled by the revolving will king. Come over if you have the ability. Ha ha ha. On the other side of the purgatory, Shui Ganglai laughed coldly. His eyes were filled with disdain. They quickly turned and disappeared from Jiang Chen's sight. There is no river that I, Jiang Chen, cannot cross. If you want to stop me, this purgatory is not enough. Wait for me, you won't be disappointed. Chapter 52:20. Jiang Chen frowned. The current situation was very critical. He had to move forward alone, and no one would help him. He could only rely on himself. The purgatory below the metal chain was the most terrifying, but it seemed ordinary to Jiang Chen. It might not be able to put him in a dilemma. He could see that Shui Ganglai must have used a unique secret technique to cross this purgatory. Otherwise, this purgatory wouldn't be something an ordinary person could casually cross. This purgatory wasn't like the magma from before. Jiang Chen could sense that this purgatory was even more terrifying than the fiery purgatory of King Taishan that he had encountered on the Tianqi star. Although it looked like ordinary magma, it gave off a suffocating feeling. No one could remain unscathed from it. This is the reincarnation hell of the Chakravarti monarch Shueli. It's not as simple as you think. Shui Ganglai was able to cross the reincarnation hell so easily because he was a descendant of the Chakravarti monarch. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy. A cold, crisp voice rang out beside Jiang Qin. Jiang Qin was taken aback. He turned around and saw a man in white. He was as exquisite as a woman, and he was very handsome. His eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. A white fur coat wrapped around his body. He seemed to be very afraid of the cold. He had a slender figure, and he was very calm and composed. Jiang Qin hadn't expected his appearance. How could his perception be so poor? It had become so low that he couldn't even detect someone appearing beside him. "Who are you?" Jiang Qin asked faintly. "Your helper," the man in white said with a smile that was as warm as the spring breeze, making people feel very comfortable. Even Jiang Qin had to admit that this man was indeed very strong. He didn't seem to be inferior to Shui Ganglai at all. His silent appearance also shocked Jiang Qin greatly. He had to admit that if this guy was an enemy and not a friend, then it would be very difficult for him. "Helper. You and I don't know each other at all. How can I help you?" Jiang Chen's expression was indifferent. This was a special time, and the white-clothed man would definitely not attack him. If he wanted to attack him, he would not have waited until now. If Jiang Chen's guess was correct, it was very likely that the white-clothed man had some enmity with Shui Ganglai. For him to be able to silently appear here this time, he was most likely here to seize the treasure. As long as there was a goal, as long as there were benefits, then it was absolutely impossible for them to become true enemies. At the very least, I also want this Shui Ganglai to die. It seems that your goal is also the same. There were no eternal enemies, only eternal interests. Am I wrong? It will be very difficult for you to kill him, so my appearance will make things easier for you. The white-robed man had an elegant smile on his face as he locked eyes with Jiang Qin. His eyes were filled with confidence. To be able to make it this far, he was definitely a true expert. Good. Since we both have the same goal, then let's join forces and kill Shui Ganglai first. At that time, if there are any disputes, then it will depend on our own abilities. Jiang Qin smiled. At least the white-clothed man would not lie to him now. Because if he was in cahoots with Shui Ganglai, it was impossible for him to always follow behind Jiang Qin and only reveal his true self at this moment. Of course, his actual strength was still debatable. Why did he come? Just to kill Shui Ganglai? In Jiang Chen's heart, it was definitely not like that. I am Feng Qi. May I ask for brother's name? Jiang Chen. Brother Jiang, I will naturally pass through this hell of samsara. I wonder if you have the ability to do so. Feng Qi smiled slightly. Jiang Chen knew that this fellow definitely wanted to test the depth of his strength. If he could not pass through this hell of samsara, then perhaps he should change helpers. It's like walking on flat ground. Jiang Chen did not bat an eyelid and took the lead to attack. He went straight to the iron lock bridge. At this moment, Feng Qi was somewhat surprised. This Jiang Chen really had some ability. He actually ignored the hell of samsara. The hell of samsara not only had torrential heat waves, but also terrifying soul attacks. If one was the slightest bit careless, they might be scared out of their wits. In the hell of samsara, there are countless evil spirits. Brother Jiang, be careful. Feng Qi kindly reminded him. Many thanks. Jiang Qin nodded slightly. At this moment, if he did not show off his strength, Feng Qi would definitely not care about him. The two of them agreed to work together. Strength was definitely necessary. Naturally, Jiang Qin could not show weakness. After passing through the hell of samsara, he would be able to obtain Feng Qi's recognition. Although Jiang Qin did not necessarily need Feng Qi's recognition, the two of them were secretly competing. If they worked together, one of them would definitely become the ruler. Whoever was stronger would naturally have more say. Therefore, Jiang Qin did not show weakness at all. He stepped on the iron lock bridge, and in the hell of samsara, terrifying screams filled his mind. Jiang Qin frowned and his eyes were gloomy. This hell of samsara was indeed extraordinary. It was definitely not inferior to the hell of heat. In the hell of samsara, there were millions of evil spirits. He could even see them in the hell of magma, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. They desperately wanted to rush out, desperately rushing up to the void, wanting to jump out of the hell of samsara. However, when they encountered the iron lock bridge, they were instantly struck down by an invisible force. Even Jiang Qin was shocked. This iron lock bridge was actually the boundary of the hell of samsara. It could block those evil spirits. However, the terrifying screams of those evil spirits were so ferocious that they even penetrated into Jiang Qin's mind. His soul felt like it was about to be torn apart. What a terrifying hell of samsara! Jiang Qin agreed, and his heart was palpitating. In the hell of samsara, there are supreme demons, 10 generations of devil gods, 10,000 years of cultivation of the evil god, an insufferably arrogant Tao ancestor. However, they are all existences sealed in the hell of samsara. No matter how glorious they were in the past, they can only endure the torment here now. The hell of samsara is the last hell of the 10 Yama kings. However, they are trapped here and suffer for eternity. The death of the Chakravarti king left the hell of samsara here, but it has harmed countless evil spirits. For millions of years, they have been tormented in the hell, unable to escape, unable to turn around. It is truly a sin. Feng Qi said in a low voice. He seemed to know the Chakravarti king very well. Is the Chakravarti king really dead? Jiang Qin's eyes were burning as he looked at Feng Qi. Feng Qi smiled faintly. That smile was so mysterious that it made Jiang Qin nervous. The identity of this Feng Qi was getting more and more confusing, which filled his heart with curiosity. Chapter 52:21. Jiang Qin did not inquire further. Feng Qi's question made him uncertain. Perhaps the rotating wool king was truly dead. Otherwise, how could the hell of samsara have been sealed here for so many years? No one knew how long this dusty history and the great war of the gods had been buried. Whether it was the rotating wool king, the 9 paragons, or Senior Futu, no one knew what the final outcome of this battle was. Therefore, Jiang Qin did not know whether the rotating wool king had truly died, or where the 9 paragons were, or where the treasures discovered by Senior Futu were. These were all mysteries, and Jiang Qin could not calm his heart for a long time. So, you know of the 9 paragons and Senior Futu? Jiang Qin and Mu Fengqi faced each other. Some things have happened millions of years ago. We are not the people involved, so who would know? However, I have heard of the 9 paragons. As for Long Futu, Feng Qi said in a low voice. You know this person? I have heard the people of the Qingmong race mention him before. Jiang Qin looked at Feng Qi with interest. Never heard of him. Feng Qi shook his head. Jiang Qin rolled his eyes. Was this guy trying to keep him in suspense? However, Jiang Qin still felt that Feng Qi might know about Senior Futu and the 2 other experts. Otherwise, how could he know so much about the rotating wool king? Jiang Qin couldn't be bothered to talk to him anymore. He continued walking forward. The screams of the evil spirits under the bridge were getting more and more terrifying. This wasn't a physical injury, but it could completely change one's mind. It would cause one's mind to be in a mess, and even cause one's soul to be severely injured. The screams of the evil spirits could even tear one's body apart. Although Jiang Qin's innate astral soul was strong, it wasn't enough to completely contend against these terrifying vengeful spirits. He furrowed his brows as his expression turned gloomy. He walked step by step through the reincarnation hell. Although every step was difficult, Jiang Chen was able to control his soul and stabilize it. At the very least, he wouldn't end up in such a miserable state where his mental energy would be instantly destroyed. This guy does have some ability, Feng Qi said in a low voice. He was very surprised by Jiang Chen. It seemed that this guy could indeed be his helper. He had originally thought that his strength was weak and useless, but now it seemed that he had underestimated him. Looking at Jiang Chen's silhouette, then looking at the spirits below the hell of samsara, Jiang Chen knew that it would not be so easy to pass this soul storm. You can only ally with me after crossing the bridge of helplessness. Otherwise, you will not be Shui Gonglia's opponent. Feng Qi murmured. Jiang Chen's expression remained the same, but his brows were tightly furrowed. His determination was also meticulous. However, the terrifying spirit's voice seemed to be roaring from the depths of his heart, filling his ears, mind, and even heart. The hell of reincarnation was formed by the souls of the 9 levels of hell. Although they had already suffered the pain of hell, they were all suppressed under the conferred God battlefield for so many years. Therefore, they were no longer as docile as they were in the past. Originally, the hell of reincarnation was the final stage, a place for reincarnation. However, to these millions and millions of spirits, it became their final destination. It was impossible for them to escape from this place. After tens of millions of years, they had become violent, fearful, and furious. All of the ghosts had become evil ghosts. They had experienced the refinement of the 9 hells, and could have been reincarnated. But they were trapped here, suffering for tens of thousands of years. Nobody could endure this. Therefore, the hell of reincarnation was like a ticking time bomb. Jiang Chen knew that he had underestimated the samsara hell. The pressure that the samsara hell gave him was unimaginable. Arg! Give me back my life. I will kill you. No one can judge me. Let me out, I want to conquer the 3 realms. Countless howls resounded. Jiang Chen's scalp was numb from the terrifying spirits. His natal astral soul couldn't hold on any longer. The hell of reincarnation completely displayed its true terror. Cinnamomum Kasha, lend me a hand. Jiang Chen's heart was as calm as still water. He activated the majestic chi of Cinnamomum Kasha, instantly suppressing the entire hell of reincarnation. That kind of tranquil and peaceful soul force was like the grace of the heavens, healing all the injuries to the soul. That terrifying soul force was something that Jiang Chen could never hope to achieve. Cinnamomum Kasha was like the care of a mother, suppressing everything. No evil spirits or vengeful spirits could break through this layer of barrier. Jiang Chen was speechless. This was the true immortality of the soul. His own natal astral soul had to be strengthened as soon as possible. Relying on external forces was secondary. If there came a day when even Cinnamomum Kasha was helpless, wouldn't he just be waiting for death? Hence, Jiang Chen was incomparably shocked in his heart. He had to increase his strength as soon as possible. Under the suppression of Cinnamomum Kasha, Jiang Chen walked on the rope bridge. Facing the hell of reincarnation, he was calm and unruffled, as though he was walking on flat ground. At this moment, it was Feng Qi's turn to be shocked. Jiang Chen actually passed through the hell of reincarnation so effortlessly. This was something that he didn't dare to believe. Now, it's your turn. Jiang Chen crossed his arms, silently staring at Feng Qi. Brother Jiang is indeed extraordinary. Now, it's my turn. Feng Qi laughed uproariously. He couldn't help but shake his head, his countenance was calm and unruffled. With a stretch of his hand, a golden talisman appeared in Feng Qi's palm. The heavens and earth are mine to use, the myriad of living things are mine to command. Divine talisman above, evildoers, go. Feng Qi casually pointed his finger, causing the golden talisman to stick onto the rope bridge. In an instant, the rope bridge calmed down. Jiang Chen was astonished, but he soon regained his composure. Since he was able to pass through the hell of reincarnation, Feng Qi should be able to as well. This wasn't something unimaginable. Most importantly, this soul-locked talisman of his was extremely terrifying. Millions upon millions of spirits instantly quietened down. Jiang Chen soared into the air as though he was treading on the waves. In the blink of an eye, he had already crossed the rope bridge. When Feng Qi appeared beside Jiang Chen, he stretched his hand out and retrieved the soul-locked talisman. Seems like this talisman could be reused. It was indeed a good treasure. Awesome, Brother Feng, you have truly broadened my horizons. Jiang Chen lightly laughed as he shook his head. Insignificant tricks, not worth mentioning. Ha ha ha. Feng Qi lightly laughed as he spoke. His calm and domineering aura rose spontaneously. The two of them stared at each other. It was clear that neither of them was willing to submit to the other. However, they had a common enemy. Therefore, this was the best time for a confrontation. Victory and defeat were no longer important. What was important was that both parties had already seen what they wanted to see. Let's go. Shui Ganglai will definitely be like a fish in water with Qin Chi's help. We can't let them succeed. Chapter 52-23. The demonic immortal island was faintly discernible in the middle of the boundless sea. It looked like a palace of immortals. In the vast immortal world, the boundless sea was the overlord of the West Sea. Experts were as common as the clouds in the sky. The demonic immortal island was the center of the boundless sea. A strong wind blew and raging waves crashed against the shore. A muscular figure with golden hair that flowed like a waterfall stood on the reef, braving the wind and breaking the waves. The young man's back was like a mountain. He was bare-chested. No matter how the wind and rain hit him, he was as firm as a boulder. His face was like a crowned jade, angular and chiseled, full of resoluteness, but it did not lose the heroic spirit and handsomeness. Even women would sigh at his beauty. That kind of beauty was gentle but firm, it was the neutral beauty of men. It was more gentle than women, more domineering than men. Even if it was the creation of the heavens, it might not be able to have such an appearance. He was the adopted son of the demonic immortal island lord, Long Yang. Brother Yang, I broke through. I finally broke through. A tinkling laughter rang out behind the youth. He didn't even need to think to know who it was. This girl had a graceful figure, a beauty capable of causing the downfall of a nation. Her dreamy face was enough to intoxicate countless men. She was Long Yang's little sister, Meng Ji. Meng Ji's smile was like a flower as she stood behind Long Yang. The waves splashed on her body. The sun shone brightly, making her look like a goddess. Yes, a celestial maiden. She was the most beautiful celestial maiden on the demonic immortal island, the daughter of the demonic immortal island lord. I've broken through to the great ascension stage. The next step is to reach the human immortal realm. He he he. Meng Ji smiled mischievously. Congratulations. Long Yang smiled, but his eyes were filled with disappointment. His strength had been stuck at the mid-stage of qi condensation. He was the one with the worst talent in the entire demonic immortal island. He had a good appearance, but his strength and talent made the demonic immortal island lord feel helpless. Even though he had used a lot of pills, it didn't help. In the words of the people of the demonic immortal island lord, a spear that looked good but was useless. If he wasn't the adopted son of the demonic immortal island lord, he would have been eliminated long ago. Demonic immortal island was filled with immortal qi, but not everyone could become an immortal. First, they had to go through the qi condensation stage, then the energy restoration stage, and finally the great vehicle stage. After the great vehicle stage, they could break through to the human immortal realm. Although it was the immortal world, it was still very difficult to become a human immortal. Above the human immortal realm were earth immortal, heaven immortal, celestial immortal, perfected golden immortal, king, emperor, king, sovereign, and sovereign. Emperor realm was the peak of the immortal realm. Since ancient times, there was. Don't worry, I will protect you, Brother Yang. No one will dare to bully you. Meng Ji vowed. She and Long Yang were childhood sweethearts, but she was the bright moon in the sky, while Long Yang's strength was stagnant. Many people from the demonic immortal island laughed at her. Meng Ji was even more determined to protect Brother Yang. It's fine, I'm used to it. But I won't give up so easily. No one can beat me. I'll definitely succeed. Long Yang domain was full of confidence. Meng Ji was the leader of the younger generation of the demonic immortal island. She had reached the great ascension stage before the age of 16. If she could reach the human immortal realm before the age of 18, it would be unprecedented. Many people who could reach the human immortal realm before the age of 30 were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. The younger one was, the more solid one's foundation was. Even in the entire immortal world, no one had ever reached the human immortal realm before the age of 18. Meng Ji's talent was unimaginable. A piece of trash like you can talk about success. You hang around Meng Ji all day long. Do you think you're worthy of her? You can't even reach the qi condensation stage. I think you should give up on your path of becoming an immortal. Trash is not qualified to be with Meng Ji. A rough-looking young man appeared beside Long Yang and Meng Ji. He stood there with his arms crossed and spoke frankly with assurance. In an instant, a terrifying aura rushed towards Long Yang, making it hard for him to breathe. Yi Haotian. The genius of the Yi clan, one of the 10 major clans of the demonic immortal island. At the age of 23, he had reached the human immortal realm. He was the brightest star in the entire island. In the entire island, only Meng Ji could surpass him. However, it was only a possibility. In his eyes, Long Yang was just a shameless bug. Yi Haotian, it's none of your business between me and Brother Yang. You should take care of yourself. I'm the one who came to find Brother Yang. It has nothing to do with him. Meng Ji frowned and stood in front of Long Yang. She could sense that Yi Haotian was releasing an extremely powerful pressure towards Long Yang, making it so that he couldn't even breathe. What? Coward, you only know how to hide behind a woman. Long Yang, I knew you were a coward, but I didn't expect you to be such a piece of trash. Ha ha ha. That's right. Meng Ji, how could you fall for someone like him? This kind of person isn't even fit to carry Brother Tian's shoes. Only you are protecting him. If it wasn't for you, I would have killed him already. Meng Ji, you and Brother Tian are a match made in heaven. A talented man and a beautiful woman. This guy is just a piece of trash. What ability does he have for you to treat him like this? Ha! Don't you say that. Doesn't he have a dog's nose? Ha ha ha, relying on that dog's nose, I heard that he helped the island lord find a lot of treasures. Although the dog's breed is a bit inferior, it's still useful. That's right. If it wasn't for that dog's nose, the island lord would have kicked him to death. This kind of dog can't even reach the qi condensation stage. He's really a disgrace to the island lord. Who would have thought that the island lord's famous and talented daughter would adopt a piece of trash? Ha ha ha. A group of youths behind Yi Haotian sneered. Even the weakest among them was at the late Mahayana realm. For Long Yang, they were all insurmountable mountains. Long Yang's face was gloomy. He clenched his fists tightly. Even his nails dug deep into his flesh. His heart was filled with anger. But his strength was indeed the weakest. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break through. In the end, he became the laughingstock of the demonic immortal island. Long Yang's effort was 10 times more than the others, but his harvest was less than 1/10 of the others. Could it be that foster father didn't expel him from the demonic immortal island only because his nose was sensitive enough to find treasures? Long Yang's heart was filled with despair. But his roar of despair was only met with more mockery. Scram! If you dare to talk nonsense again, I won't let you go. Meng Ji scolded. If you're a man, don't hide behind a woman. Long Yang. I hope you can stay away from Meng Ji in the future. After her coming-of-age ceremony, I'll go to the island lord to propose marriage. You're not worthy of standing next to Meng Ji. Next time I see you, don't blame me for being ruthless. Yi Haotian said condescendingly. He completely regarded Meng Ji as his exclusive property. In his eyes, only he was worthy of Meng Ji. You're not a man, he. Everyone sneered at Long Yang and snorted disdainfully. Meng Ji is my sister. If she's not willing, I won't let anyone touch her unless they step over my body. Long Yang said coldly. Is that so? I hope you'll keep your word. Yi Haotian coldly snorted. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he turned around and left. I'm sorry, Brother Yang. Don't mind these people's words. Father isn't that kind of person. Although your talent is a bit lacking compared to mine, Father has always treated you like his own son. You know that. Meng Ji gently said. I understand. Don't worry, Meng Ji. I won't let anyone take you away from me. Long Yang's eyes shone with determination. Who wants you to take me away? Meng Ji's face was slightly red, and she rolled her eyes at Long Yang. She lowered her head, a trace of sweetness in her eyes. Ever since she was a child, she had always loved Long Yang. Her only dream was to marry him. Catch her! A low roar rang out. 5 black-clothed figures shot out from the bottom of the sea towards Meng Ji. Who? Meng Ji let out a cry and pulled Long Yang away. Little bastard, if you know what's good for you, get lost. I want this girl. The leader of the group said with a sinister smile. Hee, she's so pretty. We're in luck tonight. Let's do it. What's the point of talking to him? Let's finish it. The group looked at each other and said in a low voice. Who are you? This is the demonic immortal island. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. Long Yang said. So what if it's the demonic immortal island? Heh, the woman that this young master has set his eyes on is not for you to order around. I'm from the Divine Marquis Mansion. What can you do to me? The leader sneered. With a wave of his hand, the 5 of them charged forward and broke through Meng Ji's defense. Their palms struck Long Yang and sent him flying. The Divine Marquis Mansion. It was an existence that was second only to the demonic immortal island in the Endless Sea region. The Divine Marquis Mansion was considered a tyrant in the Endless Sea region. Brother Yang! Meng Ji exclaimed. The 5 of them were all late Mahayana realm experts. As soon as they exchanged blows, Meng Ji's expression changed. She was at a disadvantage. She had just broken through to the Mahayana realm, but these 5 people's strength completely suppressed her. Meng Ji! Long Yang roared. Although he was heavily injured, he still resolutely rushed forward and hugged one of the men's legs. Ignorant fool, get lost. The black-clothed man kicked Long Yang to the ground. Long Yang's face turned ashen and blood spurted out from his mouth. However, there was only one thought in his mind. He couldn't let these people take Meng Ji away. Long Yang rushed forward again and hugged the black-clothed man tightly. This time, no matter how the black-clothed man kicked him, Long Yang swore not to let go. Brother Yang. Meng Ji's face was filled with nervousness. In less than 10 moves, she was captured. Long Yang hugged the black-clothed man's leg tightly. No matter how much blood flowed from his nose and mouth, he still wouldn't let go. Let go, Brother Yang, you'll be beaten to death. Meng Ji couldn't help but cry when she saw Long Yang's body covered in blood. I won't let go. I said that I would protect you. Long Yang murmured. His eyes were already covered in blood. You're courting death. The black-clothed man roared and stepped on Long Yang's head. At that moment, Long Yang finally lost consciousness. It was unknown whether he was dead or not, but his hands were still tightly hugging the black-clothed man's leg. Brother Yang, quickly go, don't worry about me, woo-woo. Meng Ji's heart-wrenching cries echoed in Long Yang's mind. I will definitely protect you, Meng Ji, I will. Long Yang's lips slightly trembled. His heart was like a boulder. Meng Ji was his obsession. No one can hurt you. Meng Ji. Not even the heavens. Long Yang roared in his heart, his voice hoarse. At that moment, Long Yang felt like his body was about to explode. A terrifying aura burst out from his body. He couldn't control that terrifying power at all. Although it was only the tip of the iceberg, it made his strength soar. At that moment, a shocking aura spread out from the demonic immortal island. Countless experts in the endless sea were shocked. Long Yang's strength kept increasing. Late chi condensation. Early origin returning realm, middle origin returning realm, peak origin returning realm, early great ascension realm, middle great ascension realm, peak great ascension realm. Long Yang's heart was filled with battle intent. His heart was tied to Meng Ji. His eyes flickered with killing intent. No one can take Meng Ji away. No one. Long Yang roared angrily, his chi surging like a bull. He punched out heavily. His roar resounded through the sky. Long Yang turned into a golden Dahuang dog, staring at the 5 people in front of him. Ha ha ha, a dog after all. A dog can't stop eating shit. You damn dog, get lost. Kill him, we'll have a sumptuous feast tonight, ha ha ha. Their faces were filled with excitement and murderous intent. Long Yang's face darkened like a pool of stagnant water. The 5 late-stage Mahayana realm experts couldn't resist his terrifying power. Their expressions changed as they exchanged blows. They were all late-stage Mahayana realm experts, but Long Yang almost crushed them. With a single punch, one of their liver exploded and died. Long Yang's heavy punches could be said to be able to destroy the heavens and the earth. The remaining 4 people's hearts trembled. No! Don't kill me, the 4 people's expressions changed. Before they could finish their words, Long Yang's fists had already landed in front of them and crushed their heads. Bang! 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 After 4 punches, the remaining 4 people all died on the spot. Long Yang's sharp claws flipped and tore apart their corpses. Blood splattered in the sky like a bloody rain. At that moment, even Meng Ji felt a chill. Since when did Brother Yang become so terrifying? 5 masters of the late Desheng stage were killed in an instant, and the momentum was unstoppable. Was this still Long Yang? His eyes were incomparably cold and filled with murderous intent. Only when he looked at Meng Ji did his gaze gradually become gentle. How could this be? Chapter 52-24. Long Yang. How dare you kill people from the Wang family? This. How could my grandson be like this? Long Yang, you are so cruel to kill people like flies. Son, you died so miserably. The four of them furiously glared at Long Yang. Even Long Yang was stunned, and Meng Ji's brows were tightly furrowed. For seniors, what are you doing? Brother Yang was just trying to save me. These are all people from the Divine Marquis Mansion, their deaths are not to be regretted. Meng Ji said. Take a good look at who they are. Wang Wenshan roared like thunder, his voice like a great bell. Long Yang and Meng Ji looked down and they were dumbfounded. Wang Zhua, Zhang Leshan, Qin Yu, Su Lianguan, Su Lianqin, what happened to them? What was going on? Weren't they from the Divine Marquis Mansion? This is impossible. Meng Ji said. Impossible? What's impossible? Long Yang, you have hidden yourself too deeply. I didn't expect you to be so cruel and merciless. We are all from the younger generation of the demonic immortal island, why did you do this? Wang Wenshan glared at Long Yang and said, his eyes bursting with terrifying killing intent. There clearly, Meng Ji's words were interrupted by another old man. Meng Ji, as the daughter of the island lord, how can you collude with this unfilial son? He killed 5 people in a row, we must not let him live. Su Qin glared at Long Yang. They were all filled with killing intent, almost completely enveloping Long Yang. Long Yang looked at Wang Zhua, Zhang Leshan, and the others on the ground with a complicated expression. He then looked at his hands. Why did he suddenly become so strong just now? It was as if there was a huge furnace hidden in his body, even he didn't know about it. In desperation, he tore the seal in his body and completely absorbed the terrifying power, allowing him to quickly break through and reach the late stage of great ascension. Even he himself felt that it was inconceivable that he could kill 5 great ascension experts in 5 moves. Seniors, you've really wrongly accused Brother Yang. Meng Ji complained incessantly, but there was no other way. My grandson died here, how can it be fake? I saw him punch my grandson to death with my own eyes, and you still want to protect him. So what if he was the adopted son of the island lord? I've long known that he was harboring evil intentions. Otherwise, why would he hide his strength all this time? Now that he has started a massacre on demonic immortal island, we won't tolerate him. Wang Wenshan glared at him. If you want to incriminate someone, you can always find a pretext. Anyway, I've already killed him. Long Yang's gaze was as sharp as a knife. In order to save Meng Ji, so what if he had to kill the entire world? You still dare to quibble? If I don't kill you today, how can I convince the masses? Su Qin firmly locked onto Long Yang, and his murderous aura spread. Long Yang, don't think that just because you're the adopted son of the island lord that you can do whatever you want. The demonic immortal island is a paradise of immortals in the endless sea. Fighting is forbidden here. Anyone who kills people will be severely punished. You killed 5 people, all geniuses of the demonic immortal island. You deserve 1,000 deaths. Wang Wenshan said coldly. If you want to kill Brother Yang, you'll have to run over me. Meng Ji firmly protected Long Yang. These 4 people were all Earth immortal experts. It would be easy for them to kill Long Yang. How could this be? Meng Ji, it was Long Yang who killed them, right? Yi Haotian also rushed over. His eyes were full of sorrow and his face was gloomy. Wang Zhua and the others are my brothers. Meng Ji, they are also our playmates since childhood. They are your brothers. Are you just going to watch them be killed by Long Yang? If this can be tolerated, what can't be tolerated? Long Yang will die today. I, Yi Haotian, will not rest until you die. Yi Haotian's anger was particularly violent. He was the strongest in the younger generation of the Yi family, and also the top genius of the demonic immortal island. Even Wang Wenshan and the others did not dare to say anything. Not to mention, at this time, they were facing a common enemy. Long Yang was their enemy. Young Master Yi, please understand that Long Yang has ulterior motives. He has been enduring all this time, but at this time, he killed several people of the demonic immortal island. He is a sinful person. If we don't kill him, he will become a disaster in the future. Su Qin shouted. Elder Su is right. If we don't kill this bastard, the demonic immortal island will never have a peaceful day. These people are my, Yi Haotian's, brothers in the past. I will definitely kill you. Yi Haotian stood with his sword and pointed it at Long Yang. The four earth immortals firmly locked Long Yang in a dilemma. Kill! Wang Wenshan shouted. Yi Haotian glared at Long Yang and slashed the sky with his sword. Facing this sword, whether it was Long Yang or Meng Ji, they were unparalleled. Death shrouded Long Yang's head. However, at this moment, a beam of sword qi descended from the sky and shook off Yi Haotian's sword. Yi Haotian staggered back a few steps, his eyes filled with fear. Even though this sword qi had forced him back, it did not have any killing intent. In the sky, a blood-robed figure stood proudly in the sky. It was the island lord of the demonic immortal island, Ji Chongkong. Greetings, island lord. Wang Wenshan and the others all knelt respectfully. Island lord, you came at the right time. This scoundrel Long Yang killed the people of my 10 families. 5 of our young talents died in his hands. Now, he doesn't repent. Island lord, please make a decision. Yi Haotian stepped forward and said sternly, Island lord, Long Yang killed 5 of my brothers and committed crimes in the demonic immortal island. I must kill him. Ji Chongkong's eyes were cold as he looked at Long Yang. He frowned. He had not expected that Long Yang would improve so quickly after so many years of bitter cultivation. Furthermore, he had killed 5 people in a row, all of them young geniuses of the demonic immortal island. Even the island lord could not stand idly by and watch. Father. This matter can't be blamed on Brother Yang. In order to protect me. Meng Ji quickly said. I saw it with my own eyes. How can it be false? This Long Yang is a despicable and shameless villain. He was always ridiculed by others in the past. That's why he killed his former brother. If we don't get rid of him, I'm afraid the demonic immortal island will never have peace. Su Qin said. If a prince breaks the law, he will be punished like a commoner. Island lord, it is an indisputable fact that Long Yang killed people. As the island lord, you must uphold justice for us. Yi Haotian knelt on one knee. His eyes were gloomy and filled with sorrow. Ji Chongkong's expression was gloomy. Regardless of how Long Yang's strength suddenly became so strong, he was happy to see it happen. However, he recognized the 5 people that Long Yang had killed. They were the younger generation of the 5 great clans, and their strength was not ordinary. Yet, they all died at Long Yang's hands. This was truly unbelievable. However, at this moment, as the lord of the demonic immortal island, Ji Chongkong had to do something convincing. The demonic immortal island had a rule that forbade killing the innocent. Those who violated it would not be forgiven. Long Yang was his adopted son. Ji Chongkong had no choice but to face Long Yang knowingly breaking the law. Even if he wanted to protect Long Yang, it was impossible. The 10 great clans of the demonic immortal island occupied half of the island. Even Ji Chongkong could not cover the sky with one hand. Now that Long Yang had killed 5 people, and they were all from the 10 great clans, no one could save him. Island lord, please uphold justice for me. My grandson is innocent. This guy is a beast, he has no emotions. My grandson's corpse was torn to pieces by him. This kind of arrogant person is vicious and merciless, killing people like flies. If we don't kill him, there will be endless troubles in the future. My Wang clan will not let this matter rest. Wang Wenshan said in grief. Long Yang, is what they said true? Did you really kill all 5 of them? Ji Changkong said indifferently as he looked at Long Yang. This battle was indeed very miserable. The 5 of them did not even have a corpse left. It was already pretty good that they could still be recognized. Long Yang's sharp claws tore them to shreds. For the peace of the demonic immortal island, in order to convince everyone, Ji Changkong had no other choice. Those who kill will be killed. Even immortals are not spared. Yes. Long Yang's eyes burned as he looked at his adoptive father. When their eyes met, Ji Changkong's eyes were filled with complicated emotions, and even more, disappointment. Long Yang knew that Yi Changkong's authority was like a mountain. He would not let this matter rest. It was a foregone conclusion. Father, listen to me. Meng Ji said anxiously. Someone, come and take the first miss away. Ji Changkong said coldly. No, father, no. Brother Yang is innocent. No matter how Meng Ji shouted, Ji Changkong remained indifferent. I thought you would quibble. You killed them, just admit it. Yi Haotian sneered. Long Yang killed the geniuses of the 5 great clans, but I am not wrong. Long Yang glared at Yi Haotian. Wrong or not, it's not up to you to decide. Su Qin rebuked. You are not wrong, but is it wrong to stumble my grandson? He was killed by you, and not even his corpse was left. How do you explain that? Wang Wenshan roared. Long Yang, no matter what, you have already killed him. A country has its laws, and a family has its rules. The demonic immortal island is the gathering place of the demonic immortals in the boundless sea region. As the island lord, I am duty-bound. Ji Changkong took a deep breath. His eyes flickered as he looked at Long Yang. All sorts of feelings welled up in his heart. From today onwards, you are no longer a member of the demonic immortal island. You will be exiled to the boundless sea region, never to return. Life and death are decreed by fate. Riches and honor are determined by the heavens. Ji Changkong's words made Long Yang pale. He looked at his adoptive father in a daze, as if he was struck by lightning. Adoptive father, Long Yang's lips moved slightly. He felt like a knife was twisting in his heart. Being exiled meant being alone and dying. The boundless sea region was vast and filled with danger. Even heavenly immortals did not dare to cross the boundless sea region. Being exiled also meant that the dark clouds of death were already looming over Long Yang's head. Yi Haotian's eyes were gloomy. Although he did not personally kill Long Yang, he did not have to worry about Long Yang becoming a stumbling block in the future. Being exiled to the boundless sea region also meant death. The dangers of the boundless sea region were not something that the demonic immortal island could compare to. It was said that even golden immortals had fallen in the boundless sea region. The boundless sea region was the legendary purgatory on earth. Pass down my order. From now on, exile Long Yang. Exile meant death. It meant leaving the demonic immortal island forever. Long Yang felt like his heart was being pierced by a knife. He could not bear to part with Meng Ji and his adoptive mother. From today onwards, he would be walking into the abyss. How could a Mahayana cultivator like him have a place in the boundless sea region? Wang Wenshan, Yi Haotian, and the others all revealed expressions of joy when they saw their adoptive father exiling him. It was indeed impossible for the island lord to kill his own son. However, being exiled was equivalent to sentencing him to death. The island lord is wise. This bastard should suffer the wrath of the heavens. That's right. Our grandson cannot die in vain. The island lord is wise and valiant. He empathizes with us. We will forever be grateful for the island lord's kindness. Wang Wenshan and the others repeatedly kowtowed. At this moment, Long Yang was dragged away from the demonic immortal island by 2 human celestial stage guards. At that moment, Ji Chongkong sighed in his heart. Yi Haotian sneered in his heart. Now that his greatest enemy was gone, he could rest easy. From now on, he could rest easy. Long Yang, that bastard, was courting death. Unfortunately, 5 of his followers had died. In the future, Meng Ji would definitely be his. Long Yang's gaze was fixed on Ji Chongkong. Ji Chongkong also shook his head helplessly, but he had no other choice. There were millions of demonic immortals on the demonic immortal island. There were as many experts as the clouds. This was not a place for him to speak. Without rules, nothing could be accomplished. Even if he exiled Long Yang, he would not be able to face it. However, a life for a life. If he protected Long Yang, it would cause the entire demonic immortal island to be on the verge of collapse. Killing Long Yang to warn the rest was his ultimate goal. In front of the main hall of the Myriad Fiend Palace, Meng Ji threw herself into her mother's embrace and cried. "Husband, you really exiled Yang, er." Yao Yu stared at Ji Chongkong in a daze. Her heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. If I don't go to hell, who will? I can't do anything about Yang, er's situation. He has killed too many people. The Wang clan, the Yi clan, the Su clan, and many other clans. I can only exile him to ensure the safety of the demonic immortal island. I am worried about Yang, but I have no other choice. Ji Chongkong said indifferently. Yao Yu's face was filled with tears. She hugged her daughter, Meng Ji, tightly. He is our child. All these years, Yang has always been my flesh and blood. Brother Kong, you are so ruthless. Yao Yu shook her head. You are doing this for your power. You don't want to save Brother Yang. You are afraid of losing your position as the demonic immortal island's island lord. Meng Ji glared at her father in a daze. Pa! Ji Chongkong slapped Meng Ji's face. Meng Ji glared at her father coldly and left angrily. Why did you hit her? Yao Yu's face was filled with rage. An unpolished jade is worthless. Ji Chongkong said Leng. The demonic immortal island was not the only one in the boundless sea region. There was the 9-Dragon Beach in the north, the Water Moon Cave in the south, and the Divine Marquis Mansion in the west. The hegemony of the demonic immortal island was already on the verge of collapse. At this moment, the 9 Dragons Beach was eyeing the demonic immortal island. The Divine Marquis Mansion was dominating the demonic immortal island. The demonic immortal island was already on the verge of collapse. Chapter 52-25. Huge waves hit the shore, rolling up thousands of piles of snow. The vast sea was boundless. The rapid river occasionally caused huge waves that were tens of thousands of meters tall. It was a shocking sight. The endless sea had a territory of millions of miles. It was difficult to explore. There were countless hidden dangers in the endless sea. Even the demonic immortal island couldn't see the whole picture. Standing on a reef, no matter how the wind and rain blew, that tenacious figure stared at the east, speechless for a long time. Many years of memories, many years of beauty, many years of bitterness, all at this moment, along with the crashing of the huge waves, vanished into thin air. Long Yang's heart was full of resentment and despair. His foster father's last moment of exile had filled his heart with resentment. But Long Yang knew that if his foster father didn't do that, it was very likely that the 10 major families of the demonic immortal island would force him. The big picture was the most important. Perhaps his own sacrifice was just an expedient measure. But in the end, he was still exiled. Long Yang couldn't calm down for a long time. Exile meant death. Who didn't know that the endless sea was full of dangers? Without the protection of the demonic immortal island, even human immortals and earthly immortals might not be able to run amok in the endless sea. Huge waves that covered the sky, peerless demonic beasts that swallowed the heavens and the earth, fierce aquatic birds that dominated the north and south, all of them were fatal threats. Therefore, no one dared to leave the protection of the demonic immortal island. Even if someone wanted to leave the demonic immortal island, they would certainly be escorted by the 10 major earthly immortals. Otherwise, they would definitely die. The 100,000 miles of the endless sea had the protection of the demonic immortal island. But outside the 100,000 miles of the endless sea, there were hellish dangers all around. Living was an unimaginable luxury. For so many years, Long Yang had never heard of anyone who could survive outside the 100,000 miles of the endless sea. I must live. Only by staying alive can I take revenge. You sanctimonious people, I will definitely tear you to pieces with my own hands. Meng Ji. I don't know if I can come back alive to see you. Waves surged, waves splashed, and dark clouds covered thousands of kilometers. It was rare for there to be a clear sky in the endless sea. Dark clouds covered almost everywhere they passed. He had already left the 100,000 miles of the demonic immortal island. The road ahead was long and unknown to anyone. Long Yang turned around and jumped into the deep sea. Under the deep sea, colorful fish swam in the water, towering trees, and seaweeds were all grotesque and dazzling. Long Yang didn't know where he should go, but he only had one thought in his heart, and that was to live. Because he wanted revenge. However, in the endless sea realm, without the protection of demonic immortal island, the most difficult thing was to survive. You don't know which will come first, death or danger. Long Yang hid in the deep sea and continued to swim forward. In less than 10 nautical miles, he saw an octopus, the 9-poison octopus. It was because it had 9 tentacles, and the poisonous mist it released was incomparably poisonous, able to kill countless sea demons. Long Yang could not help but feel his scalp go numb. Such a great demon was at least a human immortal. It was not something he could afford to offend. It was better to escape as soon as possible. Little doll, do you still want to run? Your meat is fresh, tender, and delicious. I've never eaten a human before, hee hee hee. A feminine laughter sounded in Long Yang's ears. Damn it. He had been discovered. Run. Long Yang only had one thought in his mind. He definitely couldn't beat it, so he could only run. Long Yang's speed was very fast. Ever since he was young, he was most proud of his speed. Even if those guys were stronger than him, every time he finished showing off, he just needed to jump into the deep sea around demonic immortal island. Then no one could catch up to him, not even the human immortal Yi Haoyan. Many humans and sea demons could only look up to him in the dust. Otherwise, he would have already been swallowed by the 9-poison octopus. The 9-poison octopus' speed was also not slow, it closely pursued him. Long Yang kept increasing his speed, but no matter what he did, he couldn't get rid of the 9-poison octopus. This guy seemed to be more powerful than he imagined. Moreover, the 9-poison octopus was obsessed with Long Yang, it had never eaten a human before. Little did he know that Long Yang was not a human, his original form was a dog. However, Long Yang firmly believed that he was definitely not an ordinary dog. Little doll. You won't be able to escape from my palm, obediently accept your death. The 9-poison octopus's sinister laughter reverberated in Long Yang's ears. This guy was chasing him relentlessly, it seemed like he was determined to eat him. Long Yang knew that even though he could increase the distance between him and the 9-poison octopus, he couldn't get rid of him. Once he was exhausted, it would be time for the 9-poison octopus to die. He had to think of a good way. If he made a mistake, he could become the 9 poison octopus's delicious meal. Treasure. It's the aura of a treasure. Long Yang had an idea. This treasure was definitely not ordinary, it seemed to be a shellfish. However, his nose was very sensitive, this treasure must be nearby and very well hidden. As long as it was a heavenly treasure, it would definitely be guarded by demonic beasts. Now that he was rushing towards the heavenly treasure, there would definitely be sea demons around. Let's divert the trouble to someone else. Long Yang's eyes flashed coldly. As long as there were treasures and sea demons, he would be able to escape today. Long Yang's speed continued to increase. The 9 poison octopus was also very angry. He bitterly chased, but he couldn't catch up with a great ascension stage human, this was too shameful. He was an intermediate human immortal, this anger must be vented. One chasing, under the deep sea, like 2 arrows leaving the bow, rushing towards the deep sea of nothingness. We're almost there. Long Yang smiled, the corner of his mouth hooked up into a meaningful smile. Rushing left and right, between the corals and the reefs on the seabed, he constantly passed through. Son of a bitch, where do you think you're going? The 9 poison octopus seemed to be starting to get angry, he constantly spat out black poison, spreading it around. After countless fish were submerged by the black poison, they quickly died, the toxicity was evident. The 9 poison octopus was already angry, a great ascension stage guy, he couldn't catch up with him for half a day, how could he not be angry? You want to chase me, come on. Long Yang sneered, he didn't care. At this time, he had rushed into a deep sea trench with dense corals, there was a broken gully below, blocked by the coral layer above, even if a lot of sea monsters swam over it, they wouldn't notice it at all. Long Yang drilled into the trench, the 9 poison octopus also followed, but at this time, Long Yang felt a palpitation. What a terrible sense of oppression. Long Yang's heart sank, sure enough, there were 3 big clams around, they were the size of a millstone, constantly opening and closing their mouths, and in the mouth of the clam, there was a small eye flashing. These 3 giant demon clams all had the strength of the human immortal stage, their eyes were very small, almost smaller than a human, but Long Yang didn't dare to act rashly. Brother 9, here we are, the treasure is here, you clean up these trash, I'll go grab the treasure. Long Yang looked at the 9 poison octopus and nodded silently. Want to grab the treasure? You came to the wrong place, stinky octopus, this is not a place you can come to. The giant demon clam opened and closed its mouth, spitting out human language. Kill him, we can't let him succeed, the octopus is the most cunning sea demon. He dares to come here to grab the treasure, kill him without mercy. The other 2 giant demon clams echoed, forming a triangular formation, surrounding the 9 poison octopus in the middle. Bastard, what nonsense are you talking about? The 9 poison octopus shouted angrily. Brother 9, didn't you ask me to bring you here to grab the treasure? Do you want to kill me to keep it to yourself? Long Yang said with a face full of panic. Don't listen to him, I don't even know there's a treasure here. The 9 poison octopus flew into a rage out of humiliation. Don't know what you're doing here. The 3 giant demon clams definitely wouldn't believe the 9 poison octopus, in their eyes, the octopus was the most cunning and treacherous sea demon. Don't know, do you believe what you just said? Stinky octopus, you're courting death. The 3 giant demon clams didn't say anything and dashed towards the 9 poison octopus. It was absolutely wishful thinking to snatch their treasure, they had been guarding this place for hundreds of years, they would not allow anyone to disrupt their plan. No matter who it was, it didn't matter if he knew or not, the important thing was that since they had found their way here, they must die here. I have no intention to be your enemy, you stinky clams, don't be so shameless. The 9 poison octopus scolded. Thief, die. The giant demon clams didn't care about the 9 poison octopus's words. His purpose wasn't important anymore. They just needed to kill him and everything would be fine. Seeing the 9 poison octopus and the giant demon clams fighting, Long Yang's eyes became fiery. These guys didn't care about the 9 poison octopus's purpose. They would rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let a single one go. Even if he wasn't here to snatch the treasure, he was definitely here to scout. If the news of the treasure was leaked, wouldn't their efforts be in vain? Kill the danger in the cradle. Everyone understood this principle. That was close. Long Yang let out a long sigh of relief. The strength of the 3 giant demon clams was almost the same as the 9 poison octopus. The battle between them was also very intense. The giant demon clams' defense was extremely strong. As long as they closed their mouths, they wouldn't be able to break it no matter how mercilessly they whipped them. The 9 poison octopus was extremely depressed. Once the giant demon clams clamped their tentacles, it would be very dangerous, as the giant demon clams would directly devour their tentacles. Under the trench, an intense battle between human immortals was taking place. Waves were rising from the bottom of the sea. The situation in the trench was even more tragic, as the surrounding fishes were all sucked into the waves and killed. However, the 9 poison octopus still couldn't kill the 3 giant demon clams despite releasing countless poisonous creatures. The giant demon clams kept their mouths shut, giving the 9 poison octopus a headache. The 9 poison octopus was also very cunning. His tentacles were extremely strong, like 9 long whips, fiercely lashing on the giant demon clams, causing layers of waves to rise to the sky. However, at this time, the giant demon clams didn't hold back. One of them fiercely bit the 9 poison octopus tentacle, causing the 9 poison octopus to lash out crazily at the giant demon clam, causing him to become furious from the pain. "Ah, my leg!" One of the tentacles of the 9 poison octopus was bitten off, and the giant demon clam directly ate it. At this time, the giant demon clam's entire body was numb from the whipping, and it was trembling incessantly. It was extremely painful. "Ah, ah, ah! You all have to die!" The 9 poison octopus roared as he charged towards the 3 giant demon clams, this time with the intention to kill. Both sides faced each other, their battle intent surging. Good hit, good hit. Let's continue. Long Yang smiled, turned around, and turned into a stream of light, rushing into the trench. He wanted to see what the giant demon clams were guarding under the trench. Long Yang went deep into the trench, and at the edge of the trench, under the corals, he found a black giant demon clam. Long Yang's pupils shrank, his heart was filled with joy and shock. The giant demon clam was a very powerful sea demon. In every million giant demon clams, there would be one black demon clam, and the black demon clam was the king of the giant demon clams. This was because the black demon clam could produce the extremely rare black pearl in the endless sea region. The black pearl was different from other pearls. It was nurtured by the black demon clam's life essence. Once the black pearl was formed, the black demon clam would swallow it, becoming the king of the clams. However, at this time, it seemed that the black demon clam had already poured all its essence into the black pearl. Through its black shell, Long Yang could even see the black light beam inside the black demon clam, constantly flickering. Who? A low shout stunned Long Yang. It's the black demon clam. But at this time, the black demon clam's strength was already very weak. The black pearl was about to be formed. The black demon clam was now at its weakest. Black pearl, I didn't expect it to be a black pearl. Ha ha ha, looks like it's really a good fortune. Long Yang said with a laugh. It was better to come at the right time than to come early. He just happened to be chased by the 9 poison octopus, so he came here. He didn't expect to see the birth of the black pearl. Wasn't this a gift from the heavens? Long Yang knew that the black demon clam was at its weakest right now. Take your life while you're down. In the endless sea, the cheapest thing was kindness. Long Yang knew better than anyone how he was exiled here. to be kind to the enemy was to be cruel to himself. Kill the black demon clam, take the black pearl. This was the truest and most direct thought in Long Yang's heart. A mere Mahayana stage, you want to be fierce in front of me. You're courting death. The black demon clam roared, anger rose from its heart. It was an intermediate stage worldly immortal, although it was like a tiger falling from the sky. The black pearl had consumed half of its essence, but a skinny camel was still bigger than a horse. Even so, a mere Mahayana stage couldn't take away the treasure in its hand. Chief, with a breath, the black demon clam almost sucked Long Yang to its front. That terrifying power made Long Yang's expression change as if he was facing a great enemy. Motherfucker, so many years have passed, your energy has been used to nurture the black pearl. If I die in your hands, wouldn't it be too unjust? Long Yang was extremely unwilling, but seeing that he was about to be sucked away by the black demon clam, how could he stand it? I'll fight it out with you. Long Yang took advantage of the momentum, roared, and headbutted the black demon clam. That was the hardest outer shell of the black demon clam, but Long Yang knew that he could see the light emitted by the black pearl through the black demon clam's body. It must be an arrow at the end of its flight. The hard shell that it was most proud of in the past might be the weakest now. Bang! Long Yang's head was dizzy from the impact. Damn! It's too damn hard. But Long Yang could feel that there were some cracks on the black demon clam's body. There's a chance. Long Yang took advantage of the situation, disregarding the black demon clam's mouth, and went head-on with it. Long Yang's current strongest move was his iron head art. His head was very hard, it could easily split a mountain. This was why he dared to go head-on with the black demon clam. Although he was quite strong in the past, in order to nurture the black pearl, he was struggling at death's door. He had to take it down in one go. Bang! Bang, bang. Long Yang hit a few times, and finally, the black demon clam's hard shell was smashed by himself. Long Yang grabbed with both hands, tearing the black demon clam's flesh. Without its hard shell, it was too weak to withstand a single blow. No, the black demon clam's roar made Long Yang's scalp go numb. Long Yang quickly took out the black pearl from the black demon clam's body. The black pearl was about the size of a dragon-eye fruit. It was very dazzling, the black light was so enchanting, Long Yang was momentarily stunned. Too beautiful, too beautiful. Moreover, the energy emitted from the black pearl also shocked him, the one and only black demon clam nurtured by the heaven and earth's fortune. The black pearl's terror could be seen. Long Yang was very excited. If he swallowed the black pearl, his strength would definitely increase. Breaking through to the worldly immortal realm would not be a problem. Oh no! Black pearl! Go! The three giant demon clams instantly sensed the danger. The black demon clam's scream made their hearts sink. They were fighting with the 9 poison octopus, completely forgetting about the black pearl. The 9 poison octopus saw that the giant demon clams wanted to escape. It was infuriated. You 3 bastards ate 2 of my tentacles, you want to leave just like that? How can there be such a good thing in the world? Where are you going? The 9 poison octopus was not willing to let the 3 giant demon clams go. It was entangled with them, not giving up until one of them died. At this moment, Long Yang also flew out from the trench. He saw the battle between the giant demon clams and the 9 poison octopus. He was amused. These idiots are still fighting. Grandpa, I'm going to leave first. Stinky octopus, see you again, hee hee hee. Long Yang sneered. He quickly swam away, leaving the 9 poison octopus and giant demon clams behind. Black pearl. The black pearl is in his hands. The 3 giant demon clams finally realized that they had been fooled by the human. Bastard, stop right there, I will definitely kill you. Chapter 52-26. Long Yang swam quickly. He couldn't care less now. Of the 36 stratagems, escape was the best strategy. The 9 poison octopus and the 3 giant demon clams also reacted and chased after him. They didn't give him any chance to breathe. Long Yang's speed was very fast, but his strength was limited. If he could take this opportunity to devour the black pearl, his strength would definitely increase, but he didn't even have a chance to breathe. Under the deep sea, the torrents were unceasing, and Long Yang's speed was greatly restricted. But it wasn't just him, the same was true for the others. The 9 poison octopus and the 3 giant demon clams also gradually slowed down. But they couldn't go on like this. Long Yang knew that he was only at the middle stage of the great vehicle stage. If he persisted, his spiritual chi would be exhausted and he would die of exhaustion. Strange, why is it getting slower and slower? The torrents around me seem to be getting bigger. Long Yang frowned, but he could only move forward. If he stopped, he would definitely be killed by these guys. There were many currents at the bottom of the sea, just like a whirlpool. The bigger the whirlpool, the more the currents would twist, and it would feel like they were going against the current. Once a whirlpool was formed, it could be a whirlpool that was thousands of meters long. At that time, countless fish within a 10-li radius would be killed. Not good. What I'm afraid of is coming. Long Yang's heart sank. He was most afraid of encountering a whirlpool, but now the whirlpool around him had formed. The fish were fleeing in all directions, and the surrounding reefs, corals, and aquatic plants were all sucked into it. Undersea whirlpools were caused by the crashing of huge waves in the sea. Heavy waves, strong winds, and the impact of the undersea turbulence formed the most powerful whirlpool. Even an expert in the human celestial stage would be very difficult to deal with when encountering an undersea whirlpool. They were likely to be trapped in it, and even if they didn't die, they would lose a layer of skin. Now Long Yang couldn't resist the power of the undersea whirlpool at all. He might be sucked into it and strangled to death. Let's see where you can run to. Today, even if I have to risk my life, I will tear you apart. The 9 poison octopus said fiercely. Seeing that Long Yang was sucked into the whirlpool, the 9 poison octopus and the 3 giant demon clams followed closely behind. In a moment, they were all sucked into the whirlpool. Long Yang knew that it was too late to run. Once the whirlpool was formed, there was no place for him to escape. He could only resign himself to his fate. The 9 poison octopus was also worried, but for revenge, he couldn't retreat. As for the 3 giant demon clams, he was not afraid at all. After all, their shells were very hard. Long Yang swallowed the black pearl in one breath. At this time, it was safer to put a treasure in his stomach than to keep it. Even if he was shredded into pieces by the deep-sea whirlpool, he would die with a full stomach. The energy of the black pearl was far beyond Long Yang's imagination. At this time, the black pearl was gradually melting in Long Yang's body. Even though the sky was dark, Long Yang could still feel the energy in his body rapidly spreading to every meridian in his body. The black pearl's spiritual energy was too rich. The black demon clam had sacrificed itself for 100 years to nurture this black pearl. It was 1 in a million. For Long Yang, this was definitely a great fortune. The restriction on Long Yang's body was completely broken when he killed the juniors of the demonic immortal island. When he went berserk, the energy in his body poured out, and Long Yang's strength reached the great ascension stage. This time, the black pearl's spiritual energy spread throughout his body. His blood, flesh, and meridians underwent a huge change. The shackles in Long Yang's body had been completely unlocked when he killed the juniors of the demonic immortal island. When he went berserk, a trace of energy poured out from his body, which made Long Yang's strength reach the Dashang stage. This time, the spiritual energy of the black pearl spread all over his body. His flesh and meridians had undergone great changes at this time. Long Yang's talent had never been weak. It was just that his body had been sealed. That was why he had been cultivating all this time without any results. It was only when Meng Ji had been in danger that he had managed to tear open a crack in his seal. Because of this, his body began to absorb the spiritual energy crazily. His cultivation path had been completely opened. Although the deep-sea vortex was stirring the sky and the earth, Long Yang's injuries were recovering rapidly. His body was constantly being torn apart and repaired. The benefits that the Black Pearl brought to Long Yang could be seen. Even the powerhouses of the Earth's celestial realm would be afraid of the Black Pearl. It was because the Black Pearl was too rare. Only 1 in a million giant demon clams could produce a Black Pearl. And this was only a certain probability. That was why the Black Pearl was called the most miraculous spirit pill in the deep sea, because its energy was the purest. This time, Long Yang was able to obtain this Black Pearl. He didn't know how lucky he was, even he didn't dare to believe it. As the Black Pearl was being digested, Long Yang's strength had reached the peak of the Great Ascension stage. Moreover, it was still increasing. This time, he could rely on the Black Pearl to advance to the human celestial realm. For Long Yang, leaving the demonic immortal island was like a benefit. He could swim freely in the vast sea and fly freely in the vast sky. But he didn't know how far he could fly. After all, there were too many dangers in the deep sea. Without the protection of the demonic immortal island, Long Yang could fall into the tiger's mouth at any time. Break through! Long Yang roared. The spiritual energy in his body ran through his limbs and bones. His flesh, blood, tendons, and bones were tempered in the deep-sea vortex. They were constantly repaired, torn, and strengthened. At this time, the deep-sea vortex became Long Yang's help, allowing his body to achieve a perfect fusion with the spiritual energy of the Black Pearl. Because of this, Long Yang's body became even more resilient. What he originally thought was a narrow escape had now become a tempering experience for him. Before the human celestial realm, all the stages were body refining, chi condensation, essence restoring, and great ascension stage. Therefore, if he wanted to break through to the human celestial realm, the spiritual energy in his body must be integrated. Now, Long Yang's body had been tempered perfectly by the deep-sea vortex. The spiritual energy of the Black Pearl kept surging up, which had been consumed by Long Yang. The last trace of spiritual energy was the key for him to break through to the human celestial realm. Long Yang didn't have any distractions. Although his body had been torn apart again and again, he was more calm and comfortable after the painful grinding. Even a human celestial with a strong physique could have an absolute upper hand in a battle. Now, Long Yang had integrated all the spiritual energy into one and reached an unprecedented height. Condense the spiritual energy into the body, return the essence into the sea, the Mahayana stage. 3 stages of tempering to become a human celestial. At that moment, Long Yang's body seemed to be shrouded by an invisible airwave. After breaking through to the human celestial realm, the sea of qi in his dantian had completely changed. If the sea of qi in his dantian was said to be a strong defense, then the current sea of qi in his dantian could absorb the spiritual energy from the deep sea. The human celestial realm was really powerful. The spiritual energy of the Black Pearl had helped Long Yang stabilize his strength at the peak of the early stage of the human celestial realm. At this time, even if he was facing the 9 poison octopus, Long Yang wasn't afraid at all. The deep-sea vortex kept sucking him into the surrounding sea. He had crossed hundreds of nautical miles at lightning speed. After half a day, the deep-sea vortex gradually dissipated. The surrounding sea was turbid. Most importantly, Long Yang didn't know where he was. "Bastard, where are you going? Give me back my Black Pearl." The giant demon clam pushed through the layers of fog at the bottom of the sea and approached Long Yang. This time, Long Yang wouldn't flinch. "I was chased by you bastards all the way and almost died in the deep sea vortex. Do you really think I'm a vegetarian? Long Yang said angrily. His eyes turned cold. He was ready to fight with these guys to see who was stronger. Give me back my black pearl. The three giant demon clams advanced and retreated together. Even though they knew that Long Yang had broken through to the human celestial realm, they weren't afraid to fight 1 against 3. But they still underestimated Long Yang. Because Long Yang's strength was constantly getting stronger. His iron head art was also getting better. Long Yang didn't use any weapon since he was young, because his iron head was a weapon. It was as hard as a rock. If he didn't like someone, he would just smash them. Grandpa, I'll smash you to death. Long Yang transformed into an arrow and rushed towards the 3 giant demon clams. Like a collision of planets, the 3 giant demon clams collided with Long Yang, but the result was that they were completely defeated. The 3 giant demon clams' shells were all shattered, Long Yang's iron head was invincible, and they were defeated in 1 strike. Ha ha ha, a bunch of trash. You're still too young to fight with me. Long Yang took advantage of the situation and tore the giant demon clams into 2. It was a tragic scene. The 3 giant demon clams were torn apart by Long Yang without being able to fight back. This was because the shells that they were most proud of had been smashed by Long Yang. When the dust settled, Long Yang didn't even have time to be happy. Several tentacles circled above Long Yang's head. Motherfucker, see how I'll deal with you. Long Yang glared at him angrily. This guy was the first sea demon he had met. He actually chased after him relentlessly and even wanted to eat him. He would definitely not let him off. Even though he was in the middle stage of worldly immortal stage, Long Yang was not afraid at all. The surging immortal energy in his body made him extremely excited. You actually ate the black pearl. The 9-poison octopus was furious. He didn't expect such a precious thing like the black pearl to be eaten by this guy. If he ate it, he might have broken through to the advanced human celestial stage. This bastard actually stole his fortune. So what? You want to fight with me? Grandpa will accompany you to the end. Long Yang was the first to attack. He grabbed the tentacles of the 9-poisoned seal with both hands. This time, he had no reason to retreat. Right now, Long Yang's battle intent was monstrous. He had to tear the 9-poisoned seal into pieces to appease the hatred in his heart. Your tentacles don't hurt much when they hit me, Mu Xian said. Long Yang was immersed in his battle, facing the tentacles. His whip was as long as the wind, and it started to lash out in the deep sea. Long Yang directly went forward and grabbed 2 of the tentacles. The 9-poisoned seal roared. It wanted to break free from Long Yang, but it was too late. Long Yang's hands ripped apart, and the 9-poisoned seal's tentacles were torn off by Long Yang once again. Even though his tentacles could regenerate, they were still his hands, his weapons. Now that 4 of them were torn off, his battle strength was greatly reduced. However, Long Yang was not so calm. He began to counterattack crazily. His iron head met the attacks and soared upwards. The 9-bearded poison octopus did not dare to resist his sharpness, because he had seen how the 3 giant demon clams were destroyed by Long Yang. However, even if he managed to dodge the first attack, he couldn't dodge the next one. Long Yang quickly tore off all of the tentacles, turning the 9 tentacles poison seal into a 10 tentacles poison seal. Let's see if you're still strong now. Come and eat me, ha ha ha. Long Yang laughed. But Long Yang didn't expect that the 9-poison octopus would spit out a mouthful of black poisonous mist. Still struggling in the face of death? I'll kill you. Long Yang felt numb after being sprayed with the black poisonous mist. But luckily, the 9-poison octopus didn't have any battle strength left. Long Yang didn't hesitate and tore him into pieces. This poisonous mist actually has a numbing effect. Long Yang said gloomily. At this time, the surroundings were getting darker. Long Yang sighed in his heart. Luckily, I've already killed the octopus. Otherwise, if the poisonous mist were to spread, would be in trouble too. That's not right. If it's a poisonous mist, why is the sky above my head so dark? Long Yang frowned. He suddenly raised his head and his expression changed. This is too fucking big. Long Yang's scalp went numb and he couldn't help but shiver. It was a whale that blotted out the sun and the sky. It was extremely large, and Long Yang was about 100 feet long. The sea above his head was completely covered by it, which was why he felt that the sky had darkened. This is the cloud sea sky whale. Rumor has it that an adult cloud sea sky whale is at least a heaven immortal. That's a real big demon. But the cloud sea sky whale in front of him should be at least an earth immortal. That terrifying pressure made Long Yang unable to lift his head. It's too scary. This fella can probably swallow me in one bite. Long Yang was about to run away when he suddenly realized that he was being watched. The cloud sea sky whale had locked onto him. The smell of blood, the cloud sea sky whale murmured. Big brother, we don't have any enmity between us. You're not here for me, are you? Long Yang smiled bitterly. He didn't even have the time to show the joy of victory. Now, he was being watched by a cloud sea sky whale. No wonder people say that the demonic immortal island is a real paradise. Once you leave the island, you don't know where you will die in the next second. Every step he took was a life and death crisis. I'm not here for you. But there's a dense spiritual chi on your body. Very dense. I like it. The cloud sea sky whale's eyes were bigger than his body. Long Yang could clearly see himself in the whale's eyes. This fellow was an existence that he couldn't resist. Fuck you. You're still going to eat me. Long Yang cursed. His expression was gloomy. He still had the lingering spiritual chi of the black pearl on his body. That's why the whale noticed him. Nonsense. You're courting death. The cloud sea sky whale inhaled a large amount of seawater into its body. Long Yang's expression changed, and he tried to escape, but he found that he was unable to move because of the cloud sea sky whale's suction force. Moreover, he was being sucked into the cloud sea sky whale's mouth. No, Long Yang rolled his eyes. Damn it, am I really going to be glorified here? Long Yang struggled with all his might, but that shocking suction force had already made Long Yang feel some despair. In the darkness, a blue shadow appeared in front of Long Yang. Long Yang felt as if he had been knocked away by something. Following this force, his body disappeared into the distance uncontrollably. Bastard! I'm going to catch you! The cloud sea sky whale roared furiously. The sound waves vibrated in the deep sea. Countless fishes were killed by the sound waves. The whale twisted its body and shuttled through the underwater world at an incredible speed. After all, its body was huge. It could travel several nautical miles in a single leap. Long Yang's heart sank. He felt that his face was about to change shape. The speed of swimming underwater was shocking. It could definitely reach the speed of an Earth immortal expert. When Long Yang raised his head, he discovered that he was being held under the armpit by a beautiful blue figure. His twisted face was constantly distorted by the waves, and he was in a bad state. So ugly. Chapter 52-27. Long Yang's face twitched. He finally realized that it was a woman. She was very strong, at least not someone he could defeat. She was wearing a long blue dress that fluttered in the water, looking very beautiful. Her face was covered by a green veil, but her eyes were shining like the stars in the sky. Beautiful, very beautiful. Her eyes were even more beautiful than Meng Ji's. Long Yang was in a trance. But he felt very wronged. It's fine if you're beautiful, but you don't have to belittle me, do you? I'm the most handsome man on the demonic immortal island. When he stopped, Long Yang noticed that his face was twisted in pain. Because his speed was too fast, his face was deformed in the water. No wonder this woman said that he was ugly. Even he couldn't bear to look at him anymore. Who are you? Long Yang suppressed his anger and asked in a deep voice. Why do you care who I am? You should thank me. If it wasn't for me, you'd be dead. The woman opened her red lips, revealing her bright eyes and white teeth. Her voice was very pleasant. She looked at Long Yang with a proud face, then looked around cautiously. Suddenly, she stopped. Thank you. Long Yang didn't want to admit it, but it was true. If she hadn't arrived in time to save him, he would have become the cloud sea whale's food. Don't mention it. It's nothing. But you're too ugly. The woman curled her lips. It's all because of you. I'm afraid it'll take a long time for my handsome face to recover. Long Yang said angrily. I'm lucky I didn't see your face. The woman covered her mouth and giggled. By the way, the cloud sea whale won't chase us anymore, right? It will. I cut off its fin when it wasn't paying attention. That's a good medicine. Otherwise, it wouldn't have chased me so closely. Long Yang was stunned. Shit! Wasn't it all because of you that I was almost swallowed by the cloud sea sky whale? You cut off its fin, how could it tolerate that? That's an earth immortal level sea monster. You're too daring. Everyone knew that whale fins were good stuff, but how many people dared to cut them? Long Yang was furious, but he didn't dare to say anything. At this time, he was at the mercy of others. The endless sea was too dangerous. He just wanted to return to demonic immortal island. However, the demonic immortal island didn't welcome him. He swore that the next time he returned, he would make everyone tremble in fear. It's coming again. Run! The woman grabbed Long Yang's arm and swam forward again. At this time, the water in all directions also began to flow towards the canyon under the deep sea. The speed of the flow wasn't fast, but it seemed to have a huge suction force. What is this place? There doesn't seem to be any fish swimming around here. Long Yang was surprised. The Great Canyon of Pompeii, also known as the Trench of Death. This is one of the 10 forbidden areas of the endless sea. The woman said disapprovingly. Then why did you? Long Yang didn't have a choice. He had already been dragged into the deep sea trench by the woman. Roar, roar, the roar was unceasing. Waves of the sea reverberated in Long Yang's ears. The huge cloud sea whale stopped in front of the Great Pompeii Canyon. As the water flow became more and more turbulent, the cloud sea heavenly whale seemed to know that this place was unusual. Long Yang had heard of the Great Pompeii Canyon. It was definitely the most terrifying and dangerous place in the endless sea. It was called the Death Trench and one of the 10 forbidden areas. It was enough to show that the Great Pompeii Canyon was a terrifying place. No one would choose to take the risk in the endless sea. Even the cloud sea whale, who was at the earth immortal level, felt powerless. I don't believe that you won't come out. If you really enter the death trench, you will die without a burial place. The cloud sea heavenly whale hovered above the Great Pompeii Canyon for a long time. He wanted to guard this place and not let these two guys escape. The hatred of stealing the fins was absolutely irreconcilable. Aren't you courting death? The Death Trench is one of the biggest forbidden areas in the endless sea. Even heaven immortals couldn't come out from it. Long Yang said angrily. I won't stop you if you want to leave now. I've already brought you to a safe place. The most dangerous place is also the safest place. I don't mind if you want to go back and meet that cloud sea heavenly whale. The woman shrugged. You're too cruel. Aren't you courting death by asking me to go back now? Long Yang's face darkened. I didn't force you. You should thank me. No. You have to take responsibility. Long Yang said angrily. Fine. If you want me to take responsibility, then come with me. It's just the death trench. What's so scary about it? It's all just a rumor. The so-called 10 great forbidden lands of the Endless Sea region are all nonsense made up by those people. The woman didn't seem to care at all. She turned and went deeper into the trench. Long Yang was in a dilemma. If I don't go down there, I'll be fed to the whales. Even if I go down there, I'll still die. How fucking unlucky. The Endless Sea is full of danger. Now Long Yang can only grit his teeth and take one step at a time. Wait for me. You have to take responsibility for me. Long Yang looked around. The surroundings were very quiet, and there was an indescribable suction force flowing towards the depths of the trench. The surrounding seabed space was almost unobstructed, because this was a large canyon of unknown depth, commonly known as the trench. Under the trench, it was very dark. There were no fish swimming around. Even seaweed and some shellfish that were good at living in the deep sea were nowhere to be seen. It's eerie. This was the feeling Long Yang got. It seemed very cold and the water was very bright. The deeper they went, the darker it became. There were even huge bones that covered the sun and the sky. In short, they looked very terrifying. Be careful. Wang Dachui pushed Long Yang away abruptly. At this moment, a fish several meters long with fangs swam past him like an arrow. Even so, Long Yang's clothes were still torn, and a trail of blood spread out with the ripples of the water. The slender fish seemed to become even more excited. How dare you show off your slight skill in front of an expert? It's just a sea demon at the peak of the great vehicle stage. Long Yang said disapprovingly. He glared at the sea demon that was ready to make a move. This is a canyon piranha. It's very unusual. It usually lives in the trenches under the deep sea. Wang Dachui said in a deep voice. I'll tear it apart. Long Yang glanced at his wound and became angry. I was tricked by this Wang Dachui, but you, a sea demon at the great vehicle stage, also bullied me. Do you really think I'm a vegetarian? Long Yang waved his arms and punched heavily, directly attacking the cannibal fish in the canyon. The canyon piranha didn't seem to be afraid. Even in the face of Long Yang, who was at the human celestial stage, it was not afraid of death. With one blow, the canyon piranha was hit by Long Yang and was repelled. But this time, Long Yang was determined to kill him. Long Yang's speed was not slow. In the second confrontation, Long Yang really tore the canyon piranha apart with his hands. Motherfucker. You want to eat me? Dream on. Long Yang said angrily. Run. Wang Dachui shouted. Why are you running? This canyon piranha is just a so-so. What's there to be afraid of? Long Yang didn't care. Wang Dachui pointed behind him. When Long Yang turned around, he was dumbfounded. Damn! Hundreds of canyon piranha, bearing their fangs, swarmed over. What Wang Dachui didn't tell Long Yang was that these canyon piranha were generally sea demons who lived in groups. Once they were provoked, it would be quite a headache. Even an Earth celestial stage expert would have to avoid a large number of canyon piranha. Long Yang's face changed suddenly. He quickly ran and chased after Wang Dachui. But there were too many piranha in the canyon. One of them caught up and bit Long Yang's butt. Ah! Long Yang let out a blood-curdling scream, unable to contain his anger. Ganging up on me, damn it, it's not fair. Long Yang felt bitter in his heart. Fortunately, Wang Dachiri did not leave him alone at this time. Otherwise, he would be really miserable. The two of them quickly swam deeper. Gradually, Long Yang found that the cannibal fish in the canyon behind him had disappeared. It seemed that they did not catch up. Your blood attracted all of them here. Just ignore him and run away. These canyon piranha are not to be trifled with. Apart from them, no other sea demons would dare to live in such a deep sea. Their favorite food is the rotten flesh of sea demons. Those ghastly white bones should be the sea demons who died here and were eaten by these canyon piranha. I'm no match for these canyon piranha. Fortunately, I ran away fast. Wang Dachiri glanced at Long Yang. These sons of bitches. Long Yang cursed. Let's take a look at your injury first. There are many sea demons under the sea who like the smell of blood. But your butt is quite white. Wang Dachiri laughed, not ashamed at all. Long Yang, on the other hand, blushed. Just now, he was bitten by the canyon piranha. Fortunately, it didn't bite off his flesh, but Wang Dachiri saw it all. Why is there scarlet seawater around us? Long Yang suddenly realized that the deeper he and Wang Dachiri went into the trench, the weirder it became. This was actually red seawater. His blood shouldn't have dyed the entire trench red, right? A greenish-yellow, very bright, rhombic black hole appeared in front of Long Yang and Wang Dachiri. This seemed to be the only way out. It was dozens of feet in size and bubbling. Among the scarlet seawater, it was the densest. It should be here. Wang Dachiri's lips curled up slightly. There was even a hint of excitement in her eyes. What do you mean? Long Yang was stunned. He looked at Wang Dachiri. Had she been here before? This is a deep sea tomb. It's also a secret of the Great Pompeii Canyon. Let's go. You were right to come today. Sister Dachiri will protect you. Wang Dachiri didn't hesitate and went straight for the scarlet black hole. Long Yang felt that he had been tricked. It turned out that Wang Dachiri came prepared. He was the only one who foolishly got involved. But now that he was here, there was no turning back. Be it the cannibal fishes or the cloud sea sky whale, they were enough to make him suffer. Long Yang was shocked. Deep sea tomb. Could it be that there was some hidden treasure here? Since Wang Dachiri came prepared, she must have a plan. Without thinking, Long Yang quickly followed Wang Dachiri into the black hole. After entering, Long Yang found some clues. There were many passageways leading in all directions. The source of the scarlet color seemed to be nowhere to be found. This gave Long Yang a headache. At this moment, Wang Dachiri was already standing under a stone wall. The oval stone wall was about a few dozen feet wide and was covered in seaweed. Why aren't you moving? The path is over there. Long Yang looked at Wang Dachiri with a frown. He didn't know what she was looking at. That's not the path. The path is here. Wang Dachiri didn't look at Long Yang. Instead, she stretched out her palm and wiped off the thick layer of seaweed from top to bottom. Chapter 52:28. Long Yang's face was full of surprise. He didn't expect that the real path was not there. The real path was behind them. But what did this mountain water Mystic-een represent? This is the tomb of an immortal king, Mountain Water Mystic-een. I found it after searching for a long time. He was known as the strongest defense in the endless sea realm, but he passed away here in the end. Wang Dachiri frowned and her lips curled into a faint smile. It was a pity that Long Yang couldn't see it, but he could feel the excitement in this woman's heart. Mystic-een King. Long Yang trembled. He didn't know who the mountain river Mystic-een was, but he had heard of the Mystic Dark King before. Back then, the mystic Dark King was said to have swept through the boundless sea regions of the southeast, unstoppable by anyone. He was a true supreme immortal king. But it was said that he disappeared more than 3,000 years ago. No one knew where he went. Long Yang couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. An immortal king like Mountain Water Mystic Yin had fallen here. Even an immortal king can't avoid falling in the mortal world. It's really sad. Long Yang said. Do you know why Mystic Yin King died back then? Wang Dachui smiled. Didn't he die at the end of his lifespan? Long Yang frowned. Mountain Water Mystic Yin was a peerless immortal king. Back then in the endless sea realm, he was considered a powerhouse. Few could compete with him. But what really killed him was that he obtained a treasure and was chased by someone. That's why he died. Wang Dachui glanced at Long Yang and patted him on the shoulder. But people like you won't be able to come into contact with such powerhouses. Human immortals have a lifespan of 10,000 years, Earth immortals 100,000 years, and immortal kings have a lifespan of 1,000,000 years. If it wasn't for a life and death crisis, do you think an immortal king would die so easily? If it weren't for your big sister Iron Hammer's kindness, you would have died 1,000 times over. The world is so evil. Wang Dachui smiled, as if she was talking to herself. Long Yang was speechless. Indeed, if it wasn't for Wang Dachui, he would already be dead. However, he was also dragged into this mess by Wang Dachui. However, Long Yang's strength was only at the early human immortal stage, which was far weaker than Wang Dachui's. She was already at the peak of the human immortal stage and could kill him in a single move. It was better for him to speak less. What treasure is that? Long Yang could not hide his curiosity. What treasure? It has nothing to do with you. It's mine. If you dare to have any ideas about me, you're dead. Wang Dachui glared at Long Yang. Long Yang curled his lips. Since this was the tomb of an immortal king, there would definitely be treasures here. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. If you eat meat, you should at least give me some soup. Long Yang curled his lips and said. Ha ha ha, that's for sure. If you follow Big Sister Iron Hammer in the future, I guarantee that you'll have a good life. Wang Dachui said proudly. Do you see that? Those tunnels are filled with whirlpools that can tear a person apart. The water flow is so strong that it's comparable to the edge of a blade. Even an earth immortal sea demon would die without a burial place and be shredded into pieces. At this moment, Long Yang nodded his head with lingering fear. Wang Dachui was indeed knowledgeable. If he had rashly entered those tunnels, he would definitely die without a burial place. The whirlpools of water, along with the scarlet seawater, were like a whirlwind of saber radiance, sending chills down Long Yang's spine. Damn it, this is too scary. Fortunately, Big Sister Iron Hammer's brain circuit was sharp enough to find the real entrance. It was actually on the stone wall behind them. Step back. Wang Dachui shouted. Long Yang did not dare to delay and quickly stepped back. Wang Dachui held on to two protruding points on the stone wall with both hands. Exerting all his strength, he began to move them. The 2 points that were originally at the bottom of the stone wall were moved to the center, one on the left and the other on the right, forming an equal taiji pattern. At this moment, the door finally opened. The huge stone wall directly turned into prismatic stones and fell down. A deep, dark hole appeared in front of the two. Wang Dachui took the lead and entered the black hole, followed by Long Yang. The two swam for hundreds of meters and finally saw a water curtain. They directly jumped into the water curtain from the black hole. In the next second, the two broke through the water curtain and appeared in a towering cave with a radius of 1,000 meters. It was very large. There was no water here. It was a real cave. Looking back, the water curtain was still flowing, but what Long Yang could not imagine was that the water actually flowed back. There was another world under this deep-sea tomb. There were hundreds of uneven stone steps. There were giant stone statues of a dragon and a phoenix around them. They were dozens of feet tall and looked very magnificent. There were many giant statues on both sides. They were also more than 10 feet tall. All of them held spears and were covered in armor, looking very mighty. This place gave people a very strong domineering feeling, which made Long Yang a little dazed. The tomb of an immortal king was indeed not simple. "It's here. Treasure, I'm coming." Wang Dachui flew up and walked up the stairs. They reached the 100 stone steps in a moment. Long Yang followed behind Wang Dachui. The two came to the high platform, and a stone coffin appeared. On the stone coffin, there were 9 dragons accompanying it. Some were ferocious, some were arrogant, and all had different expressions. The 9 dragons guarded the coffin. What a great aura! Long Yang's expression was solemn. The 9 dragons guarded the coffin was too strong. The invisible sharpness seemed to be pressing down on them, making it hard for them to breathe. What kind of great momentum was this? Who dared to use such a terrible aura to create the aura of 9 dragons guarding the coffin? It was incredible. Even Wang Dachui's expression was very serious. Behind Xian Guan, there was a bronze throne. On the bronze throne, there was a person shrouded in a black robe, and his appearance could not be seen clearly. However, his body was covered with dust, and the exposed palms had turned into bones. He should be a person who had died countless years ago. Could this person be the mysterious Yin King? In his hand, there was a spear. The spear seemed to be made of bone. It had been weathered for a long time, and it was also covered with dust, without a trace of luster. The person in the black robe seemed to be relying on the bone spear to sit on the bronze throne. Why do I feel that this place is so unusual? Wang Dachui's expression was cold. He looked around as if he was looking for something, but he did not move at all. 9 dragons hanging coffin, mountains and rivers, mysterious Yin. He really thinks too highly of himself. Wang Dachui murmured. That bone spear seems good. Long Yang's eyes lit up, and he stared at the bone spear in the hands of the person in the black robe. It's already weathered. Go ahead, take the things and leave quickly. Wang Dachui rolled his eyes, and his eyes were full of mockery. The bone spear looked like it was about to be weathered. After countless years of corrosion, who knew how many things had turned into nothingness? This 9 dragons hanging coffin was not simple. There must be a great treasure. Wang Dachui rubbed his palms and walked to the 9 dragons hanging coffin, his eyes shining. Open it. Wang Dachui wanted to open the coffin lid, but no matter how hard he tried, he could not open it. He tried several times, but he could not open it. Wang Dachui was so tired that he was panting. Long Yang looked at Wang Dachui's rising and falling body and could not help but click his tongue. Her figure was too good. She was thin in the places that should be thin, and fat in the places that should be fat. TSK, TSK, TSK. However, he did not dare to look for too long. If Wang Dachui could not open the coffin lid, he might vent his anger on him. I don't believe that I can't open you. Wang Dachui walked around the 9 dragons hanging coffin several times, his face very gloomy. He stretched out his hand, and a machete appeared in Wang Dachui's hand. The golden machete was dazzling and flashed with colorful lights, which made Long Yang very envious. This was definitely a very powerful combat weapon with a terrifying power. The machete lived up to its name. Wang Dachui held the machete and directly chopped at the 9 dragons hanging coffin. Clang! The sound of metal clashing was extremely ear-piercing. Wang Dachui was stunned. Even the machete did not leave a mark on the coffin. Long Yang took the opportunity to pull out the bone spear in the hands of the black-robed skeleton. Sigh. Long Yang's hair stood on end. He clearly heard a sigh, which seemed to come from the black-robed skeleton beside him. Long Yang quickly picked up the bone spear and ran to Wang Dachui's side, seeking protection. Sister Dachui, did you hear a sigh? Long Yang looked around cautiously, but the cave returned to silence again. No. Wang Dachui did not have the mood to care about Long Yang. At this time, all he could see was the 9 dragons hanging coffin. I really heard it, Long Yang muttered. However, Wang Dachui ignored him, so he did not want to continue being noisy. Long Yang played with the bone spear in his hand. It was very simple and unadorned, more than 3 meters long. Although it had long been mottled by the wind, it still had a very domineering aura. This bone spear was not as good as the machete in Wang Dachui's hand, but Long Yang felt comfortable looking at it. It was not good to enter a treasure mountain and return empty-handed. Long Yang held it in his hand and waved it a few times. It was indeed very useful. However, Long Yang was afraid that the bone spear would break if he used a little more force. That would be embarrassing. Wang Dachui was studying the 9 dragons hanging coffin at the side and had no time to pay attention to him. Long Yang looked around. Did this mysterious Yin King not leave any other treasures behind? After looking around, Long Yang also shook his head. Apart from the bone spear in his hand, there really wasn't any treasure. How could this mysterious Yin King be so poor? This time, Wang Dachui didn't come all the way here for nothing, right? At this time, Wang Dachui tried his best but still failed to open the 9 dragons hanging coffin. He was so tired that he was panting, and his face was as ugly as it could be. Motherfucker. This mysterious Yin King is too disgusting. Who can open this coffin? I'll call him Grandpa. Wang Dachui scolded. Long Yang frowned. The dragon head and the 9 dragons hanging coffin seemed to be able to move. Long Yang tried to press the head of the floating dragon, and the 9 dragons hanging coffin opened automatically. Damn it, Wang Dachui's face turned red, and he was surprised and happy. He rolled his eyes at Long Yang. He had been trying to open it for a long time and was as tired as a bastard, but this kid opened it so easily. This was too embarrassing. Paw paw paw. Wang Dachui felt his heart ache. Fortunately, there was no one else. Why are you looking at me? Are you trying to take advantage of me? If it weren't for me, you would have been dead. I didn't ask you to call me Grandpa. Long Yang shrugged. You're still talking. Wang Dachui's eyes widened in anger. Let's see what's in this coffin first. Long Yang changed the topic. What the fuck? Wang Dachui was so angry that his face turned green. This was really a fucking coffin. 1 layer of coffin, 1 layer of coffin, and another one inside. Wang Dachui gritted his teeth, and his whole body trembled. Long Yang was also stunned. He leaned forward and said, "What the fuck?" He could not express the despair in his heart. Isn't this a joke? Big circles surrounded small circles. The coffins were still there, 1 layer after another. No wonder this 9 dragons hanging coffin was so big and guarded by 9 floating dragons. Each floating dragon was full of majesty. Kakik, little boy, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You even found the tomb of the mysterious Yin King. A gloomy voice echoed behind Long Yang and Wang Dachui. A thin, yellow-faced old man in a purple robe suddenly appeared. The old man's face was gloomy, but his eyes were extremely cold. His eyes fell on the 9 dragons hanging coffin, and there was no need to mention how excited he was. Old fart, how dare you follow me? Wang Dachui was furious. This guy was following her, but she did not notice him at all. His strength must be above her, and he must have used some hidden means. This water avoidance pearl is good stuff. Even an expert of the Earth's celestial stage can't find me, let alone you. The purple-robed old man played with the blue pearl in his hand and said with a smile. After leaving Bo Yang's water city, I've been keeping an eye on you. You've always been searching for information regarding the mysterious Yin King over there. I knew there was definitely something fishy about you. As expected, it seems like my intuition was not wrong. An old man who doesn't die is regarded as a thief. Looks like you came prepared. Humph, Wang Dachui sneered. This old fart's strength was at least half a step to the Earth's celestial stage. Looks like there's going to be a lot of fun today. This guy followed her all the way here, and only showed up now. I, Pang Shi, am very protective of the fairer sex. I'm famous in Boyang Water City. Which girl doesn't say that I'm gentle? Ha ha ha, you little beauty are really my lucky charm. You brought me to the tomb of the mysterious Yin King. TSK, TSK, TSK. How can I not have a lot of treasures? You two keep saying fuck and fuck. There must be a big treasure here. Pang Shi was beaming with joy, and he was very determined. After opening the 9 dragons hanging coffin, their expressions changed. There must be a peerless treasure inside. Let's see if you have the ability. The treasure is here. Come and get it yourself. Wang Dachui said coldly. His eyes were solemn, as if he was facing a formidable enemy. This guy was not easy to deal with. It would be good enough if Long Yang did not drag him down. Long Yang glanced at Wang Dachui. At this time, they had no way out. Even if this guy was not as powerful as the heavenly whale, he was still very difficult to deal with. They had been targeted before they could get their hands on the treasure. Little girl, you're mine tonight. He he he. Pang Shi walked towards Wang Dachui step by step. As for Long Yang, he was completely ignored. This guy was completely cannon fodder. An early-stage human immortal, he could kill him in minutes. You, behind you, Long Yang's expression changed as he said with his eyes wide open. At this time, 2 tall figures appeared behind Pang Shi. Their auras were unparalleled and domineering. Trying to trick me. Pang Shi sneered disapprovingly as he closed in on Wang Dachui. Wang Dachui's lips were also cold and bright. Little did he know that the 2 statues on the stone steps behind Pang Shi moved at this moment. They were holding divine spears in their hands, looking majestic. There's really someone behind you. Long Yang said in a deep voice. Pang Shi still did not care. He approached Wang Dachui, but Wang Dachui did not move at all. He was calm and composed. Courting death. Pang Shi's eyes turned cold. Before he could get close to Wang Dachui, he felt a chill behind him. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.